Well, hello there, and welcome back to Freeform Disney. Well, today it's more Rebels time. So today I'm going to go ahead and do another character ranking. And hey, advantage if this isn't like the live stream, so everything you will want to be able to see is going to be able to be on the screen in front of us. So hey, that's a nice advantage this time, right? So those of you who aren't able to go ahead and watch along with the show at the same time. Now, in fairness, I am going to be ranking any new characters from those last 3 episodes as well, and that video is not coming out for another couple days, so you'll go ahead and see that here in a little bit. Well, hello there, Dominic. So, as I said, this will be the tier maker back here in the background. I added a couple more ranks into it than I had last time. I've got a double S and I've got an F. Just because there are a lot more characters this time around. I mean, look at all of that. And those are all the characters I found. Now, I did include the Kanan comics in here, too. So anyone can take their own opinion as to whether the Kanan comics should be included or not. But at any rate, I put them in here for the moment. But all told, I think it was 74 characters. Whereas I think it was like 26, 27 last time around. Something like that. Although, heck, I actually noticed a couple that I missed from Season 1. So, although they were like incredibly minor characters in Season 1 that we've seen a bit more of now that it's been Season 2. So, there's certainly been that. So, yeah, I mean, if I move here, there you go. You can kind of see all the characters if I shift around. Maybe if I move it up higher. There we go. You can see most everybody there at this point. Yeah, it is a lot. That is a lot. I imagine the show is going to introduce a fair bit less as we go forward, but Season 2 brought in a bunch of new characters. I was impressed by how many new ones they added on top of what we had from Season 1. So we'll see in the future. Right? Well, I mean, you all might already know the answer to this, but... I guess for anybody else who's watching for the first time, or certainly for myself, we'll see how many they add here in Season 3 and how many actually come in the final season. Final season's shorter, and again, it's a final season. You don't want to introduce too many people when there's just no time to really go much further. But anyway, all kinds of people here. Now, even for the Kanan comics, I tried to only include people who are big enough. Which, yes, means Obi-Wan actually appears, because he's got a few good lines in there. But I didn't toss in Mace Windu or whatnot. I only have, like, one line. I think Ki-Adi-Mundi has one line in there. Just not enough worthy to go ahead and make them a character in their own right, as far as the comic was even concerned. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, Season 2 and Season 3 are both longer than 1 and 4. And then... considering it's earlier, you're going to intend to introduce more people at that point. Whereas, I don't know if they knew they were only going 4 seasons when they were doing the show. That I don't know. So that would make a difference too. I mean, if they were expecting to go 7 seasons, well, then maybe Season 3 would still be early enough you'd want to introduce a bunch of characters. Well, hello there, Sportan. So yeah, anyway. So there's all of our many, many different people to go ahead and rank. Just a few. And then next week, it'll be time for the Season 2 finale. Which apparently is going to be one of the best pieces for Star Wars, Rebels, or Clone Wars altogether. Yeah, that is a lot. 74. It'll take a little while to go through this. And that's it. I'll talk about them as I go through. So, yeah. Should be fun. At least that's the hope. I mean, if it's not fun, well, doing something wrong, aren't I? Let's see. What did I do with it? There we go. Okay, so I suppose we will just go ahead and start from the top left, at least for now. Do whatever else later. If anybody really thinks the Kanan comics should be included, then just ignore them in there. Pretend they're not in there. So I guess in the top leftmost corner here we have Admiral Brahm Titus. So this is that interdictor cruiser guy. So in charge of that new project. I mean, he's pretty cliche cookie cutter villain. There's not really a lot to say about the guy. I mean, he's not horrible or anything, but I think he solidly heads over here into this D tier. There's just nothing to him. If you want your standard Imperial villain, he's it. Which is not a compliment. So, yeah, that's probably where he goes. Standard cookie cutter villain. Who knows? We could also jump around. I could go ahead and just pull out you. And but for now, I guess we'll just continue onwards with Imperials at the beginning here. Just because we have these different admirals. Let's see, Dominic. The comic characters are a fine addition to this collection. Yes. Nice one. Nice. What about anybody else? Anybody else really think Admiral Brahm goes somewhere else? On the other hand, if you know more Rebels, maybe he does pop up? I do have to look up sometime if he is that guy on the Death Star later. That's another matter. But otherwise, on to Admiral Constantine, who I did find out actually did exist in Season 1. He was just so minor that I didn't include him last time around. I just kind of overlooked him. He's certainly become a much bigger character now here in Season 2 than he was back then. But yeah, no, I just wasn't even including him. Now, in some ways he's cookie cutter. In some ways, though, he's at least got a bit more of a personality, some more sass to him. So we're going to toss him over into the B tier. I don't know, I just like Constantine. What can you do? The Admiral's like Callus in Season 1. Yeah, I can see that. So yeah, he's up in the B tier right now. More for potential. He's kind of probably more at the bottom of the B tier, near top of a C. It's probably where he's sitting right now. I'm hoping more happens with him. And then, speaking of Agent Callus, well, he's up next. Okay, so Agent Callus. You know, if it wasn't for that recent episode, this would be a lot more straightforward. But now it looks like we've actually tried to get a little more dimension, a little more personality to him. Trying to break him out of being in that two-dimensional role. So, it's trickier to know what to do with Agent Callus at the moment. So I think we're also going to toss him in the B tier for now, and I'm going to put him over here to the left of good old Admiral Constantine. So definitely some potential, but he's probably still low B tier when it comes to it. But hey, if it weren't for that last episode, he wouldn't even be in the B tier at all. Maybe that's unfair to put Constantine above him if that weren't the case, but it's what I feel like. But I've got to see where that development goes for Callus first. So until that gets seen, he's sitting around here for now. So who knows? Maybe in another season's worth of time, he'll be higher B tier. Maybe they'll even do a really great job with him and he'll make the A tier. I don't see him ever making the S tiers or higher, but yeah. But hey, at least they're moving in the right direction. Doing something more interesting with him. Okay, so as we continue our alphabetical journey here, based on whatever the heck name they have, whether it's Agent Callus or whatever else, I suppose. Ahsoka Tano. Okay, now trying to just think of her only in terms of Rebels. Trying to do that with some of these people here is going to be tricky, just because there's so much else to know them from. But I'm going to try to just go ahead and base this on Rebels. But if I just think in terms of Rebels, even there, I mean, there is nothing to complain about. I mean, they've done a pretty dang good job with Ahsoka here in Rebels so far. I mean, she was kind of in the whole what is it, Future of the Force episode, I admit they kind of just sent her off on a fetch quest to keep her out of the action so she could pop in heroically at the end. Although that heroic popping in at the end, okay, come on, we all know me. Is this any surprise? Of course she's going up there. That's probably not a surprise if you heard me talk about Ahsoka enough. Up to the top she goes. Doesn't mean she'll win out over top of everyone else in Rebels just because we have some well-developed characters in Rebels. But she's certainly up there in that top tier. I mean, she's well-developed and well-used here in Rebels as well. I can't tell if Dave Filoni goes ahead and likes Ahsoka, can you? Good. Oh, yes, especially in the Temple episode. That was starting to get to dig in a little more to her character right there, and I'm expecting more of that as we go forward, considering the whole Vader-Anakin issue. So, I mean, we're going to dig into that, and that's only going to help build her better as far as her appearances here in Rebels. So that, yeah, that's going to be good. So I don't see her going anywhere but up as far as Rebels is concerned. But you never know. I guess you can always screw up any character, so it's possible. But I don't expect it. Who do we got next? AP5. So, Chopper's new friend. Oh, what do we do with you? I mean, he was interesting off the bat, but we've only had the one very recent episode with him. He plays very much the straight man to Chopper in a number of ways. Frankly, in many ways, he's more valuable for what he does to Chopper than for what he does for himself at this point. Which, I mean, I very much want AP5 kept around because of that. Yeah, I thought that was really weird, talking about calling him Chopper's only friend. Would Hera not be Chopper's friend? I just kind of thought that would be more a friendship relationship, too. I don't know, I guess maybe we view it more as a mother-kid relationship between Hera and Chopper. But Hera would have been young herself when she originally found Chopper, so I don't know. That one felt odd to me to say the only friend when we have Hera around too. But anyway, what do we do with AP5? There's just not enough to go on. He feels kind of blank canvas to a degree, even though we did touch him. So I think we're just going to toss him over here into the C tier. Nothing bad. There's just not a lot good to talk about yet. There's potential, though. So, yeah, I think he easily goes into that C tier right there. Yeah, Constantine I definitely enjoy more than AP5 at the moment. Yeah, no question about that. Yeah. As Morrigan did his second appearance in Rebels go ahead and change my opinion of As Morrigan? No, not in the least. And hey, now that I have an F tier and a double S tier, there's a little more range for this. So now instead of just being ranked D, he can go all the way down to an F. Oh, no. They didn't do anything more impressive with his character in that one. I mean, he's just as two-dimensional and pointless and... yeah. And just not an enjoyable character, though, either. I mean, at least if you're going to be two-dimensional, you can be an enjoyable two-dimensional character. We certainly have some of those. I mean, heck, even Admiral Constantine is a little more toward that two-dimensional side, but he's enjoyable. So probably surprises no one that I shoved As Morrigan down there. Okay. C-3PO. Well, we have not seen C-3PO once since Season 1, so probably not surprising. My opinion's not changing much here because he hasn't popped in, and he was utterly... oh, man. What they did with him in Season 1. Wow, that was just horrid. Hey, he's better than As Morrigan, though, so hey, he can get that. We'll have to rearrange that. There we go. So he is better than As Morrigan. Low bar to go ahead and clear, but he made that one. Dang. I should put Stormtroopers as a character just into here too, just to comment on how they're doing the Stormtroopers as a whole, but maybe I'll do that for Season 3. I'll just make a generic Stormtrooper character. Because that was part of the problem too in that episode. Oof. Dang. Okay, so we got through 2 that probably are unsurprising where I ended up placing those. And so was Ahsoka probably, but that probably wasn't much of a surprise. Okay, so who do we have up next? It's time to head on over to those Kanan comics. So this, I did put Caleb Doom in there separately. After all, we separate out Anakin and Vader. I'm separating out Caleb Doom and Kanan. Deal with it if you have a problem with that. They are different enough in terms of how they act because Kanan is more of a false persona, although by this point it kind of has become his persona. So it's very interesting. Yes, Dominic. The good old Lothcats. Hey, I do have them in there. They're in there again. I had them in there last time, so I left Lothcats in. I just put them in kind of on a lark, because after all, the Lothcats are there to go ahead and show you just how much I despise certain characters. You're worse than a freaking Lothcat. And that's not really a character as much. I mean, they are, but not really. Anyway. Okay, Caleb Doom. Where the heck do we rank you, bud? Oh, you're definitely A or higher, no question on that. I mean, Caleb Doom from the comics, yeah, nicely done. Although at the same time, this is not the fully developed Kanan either, so it gets a little trickier. I don't think he makes the S tiers. I really enjoy him, but I think he's probably at a high A. So not a low A, but a high A, probably. We'll see. Who knows? By the time I put all of these in there, maybe it'll actually be the bottom half of the A's, because I'll find so many people to go there. But yeah, Caleb Doom in the comics was utterly fun to follow, and added so much depth to Kanan as a character. Which Kanan, unsurprisingly, is going to go higher than that. but still, Caleb Doom, intriguing to follow. Well, this is interesting because we've got 3 more of those characters that popped up into the Kanan comics coming up next. So we're just heavily going that direction for a bit. So next is Captain Rackham Seer. Now, we really don't see much of him. He's the one who heads over to... Yeah, I'm just making sure. Yeah, you can all see this. So you can always see the top corner is the one I'm talking about most recently anyway. So Captain Rackham Seer is the one who went to go ahead and try to bomb the Jedi Temple over on Coruscant. And, well, we get a little bit out of him. Freedom fighter, has a real issue with the Jedi, etc., etc. You know, really thinks he's doing, the best for his people, etc. Tricky, right? What do you do with Rackham Seer? Because there's not enough time to develop his character, and that makes things tricky. But from the offset, I mean, he's interesting. They do provide some depth to him, even for as little as we see of him, and I'm impressed by that. Tricky. I think we will probably go high C tier on him. So, not low C tier, so there's actually probably a pretty good gulf between him and AP5 right now. But yeah, not quite cracking the B tier. Close, though. Close. Captain Sloane. Well, this is tricky. So, from what I remember getting comments from all of you on, Captain Sloane, who's next down there, well, she pops in just at, the very end of the comics, but really, she was apparently a much bigger character over in the book that focused on Kanan and Hera before Rebels. So, I don't have any of that background, so I just get that little bit of interaction we have with her. And, I mean, there's potential there, I suppose. But in some ways, it's so cliche, at least from this. Maybe it's not so cliche if you know her better. But, yeah. I mean, I just don't have much to go with on that. We're going to go low C tier. Low C tier. So below AP5. There's just not much there. And, yeah, I don't know. Maybe she'll pop back up here into Rebels itself. That would be great. I'd love that if that happens. It seemed like a potentially interesting character with some history with Kanan. Potentially. She's got to flesh her out enough for me to really care about her as a character, though. Okay, to one of the more interesting characters over in the comics. So up next we have Captain Stiles. So the two main clones we follow are Captain Stiles and Commander Gray. Now, Commander Gray is the one who has to change a heart at the end and is able to break through his conditioning. Captain Stiles never does. Where do those two go? Because we do get to see a fair bit about this character here, and also, Commander Gray is over here. Heck, that image is from him making that change of heart right there. So good old Captain Stiles. Obviously the more two-dimensional of the characters, just because we don't give him that chance. But then, I mean, it's not a surprise where you're going to put most of the clones, what most of them are going to end up doing at that point. I think Captain Stiles, you're going to pop B tier, but are you better than Constantine or not better than Constantine? I think he is better than Constantine, but I think Callus at the moment goes above him. So there we go. So I think that's where we're going to go ahead and put Captain Stiles at the moment. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. And because I feel like going out of order and just taking care of Commander Gray right now. So this is Commander Gray, and I'm just going to put him up because I feel like doing both of them here together. Now, Commander Gray is definitely more interesting. He's not interesting. I can't give him A tier. I just can't do it. He's going to go higher up in the B tier, though. But yeah, higher up in the B tier, but it doesn't make an A. I like him, though. I like both of those two clothes. That's why they're up in the B tier, not say C tier or lower, right? Yeah. What can you do? What about everybody else? Do you rank those two much higher, way lower for those two? Feel free to toss it in the chat, or hey, I guess if to anyone who's watching this after the fact, always feel free to leave a comment down below. Nothing wrong with that at all, that's for sure. Okay, so I'll respond to anybody who does make any comments here, but otherwise I guess I will move onward. Look at that empty S tier up there. I've got so many people down here and B and below, especially B and C right now, but so few up in these top tiers. Okay, who do we got next? Okay, so this right here, I don't think there's a name for this guy. It's kind of odd. He's just that cargo ship captain who shoots AP5 over in one of those recent episodes. I mean, he's certainly enough of a character that I thought ranking him made sense here. Hell, I've put in characters that are smaller than he is. But, yeah. What do you do with him? I mean, he's pretty... I mean, again, back to fairly standard cookie cutter, not that interesting. I mean, I don't hate him as a character. He's not an F. But he's a solid D. I mean, he's nothing to like about him. And a little bit to dislike because they had enough time to at least put some more personality than that into him. What can you do? Admiral Titus over there is better than that cargo ship captain. Maybe that's why we don't give him a name. I mean, it's kind of sad we didn't even give the poor guy a name, though. Unless anybody knows what that name is. If so, I'll go ahead and fix that and put a name on this random cargo ship captain guy who gets beat by Chopper with his own leg. Yeah. Okay, here's a fun one. So up next, we're into the seas, so we're up to Cham Syndulla. So Cham Syndulla. It was definitely an interesting character from what we did here. And yes, interesting character from what little we saw of him over in Clone Wars, although Clone Wars was much more the cliche look for a character like that. And to be fair, Rebels does a bit of that too. To be fair. I mean, heck, we don't really get the character development we need to go ahead and have him have his change of heart. So we kind of jump over that. Probably time-wise issues there. I still like him, though. I mean, it doesn't always go that simple, right? So where do we put Cham? I'm hoping to see Cham again, to be sure. I think there's a lot more we could do with him, and he could definitely rise a little bit more if we were to see a bit more. But for the moment, there's not a ton to talk about with Cham Syndulla beyond, well, I mean, it's only been one episode. I mean, there's a fair bit to talk about with there. Yeah, and you know what I'm saying. So Cham Syndulla. I just can't give him an A, but he's high B tier. I mean, if they had justified that character change of heart for him, then he probably would have hit into the A's. But without it, I can't use that to really add to his character the way I'd like to. So I like him, but it's going to be high B tier. Well, nobody seems completely, thinking I'm doing the wrong thing with any of these yet, or have a very different one, because I'm not seeing it yet. Or you're just not saying anything. Either way. Always feel free. If you got a very different opinion, put it in there. We can talk about it. Doesn't mean it's going to change my opinion on where they go, but it's fun. Shava the Wise is up next. So, one of Zeb's people, who we've seen in one episode, the standard needed mystic. There just wasn't much to her. She was, yeah. Dang, there wasn't much to her, though. She played completely that character, that stereotype, and we never really tried to move her beyond it. Just the wise mystic kind of thing. It was too bad we didn't try to do anything more with that. Let's see. D tier, but above both of these two Imperials. I like her better than them. But certainly in the D tier, though. Yeah. Oh, so everybody's been waiting for this. Where does Chopper go this time? How bad did I put Chopper last time? I don't remember. I mean, there's still a fair bit to him. Oh, Chopper is the most inconsistent as to whether I like him in a given episode. Sometimes he's just there. He's just background. Sometimes we've actually done some really good things with Chopper. And sometimes, oh man, it goes the opposite way. I'm hoping the addition of AP5, we see him some more, and that'll help my opinion on Chopper. Chopper having a friend. Oh, Chopper, 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 you are tricky. Oh, what do I do with Chopper? This one's painful. I don't know fully what to do with Chopper. Let's see. Chopper, Chopper, Chopper. I have a love-hate relationship with Chopper. Chopper, you're going middle of the B tier. I like Callus better than you right now. Deal with it. I think that's where Chopper goes. Maybe Callus is sitting on a high right now from that last episode. In fairness, maybe he won't be able to hold up, over Chopper that way. But for the moment, Chopper's going there. I don't know. Maybe I should put him higher than Callus at least, though. Okay, fine. He goes higher than Callus. There we go. He goes higher than Callus. I talked myself into it. But yeah, I'm gonna say that I like Cham Syndulla more for the time being, and that I like Commander Gray better. Yeah. I mean, he could consistently be higher. I mean, if this were the times I liked Chopper more, but dang, sometimes, I mean, also, when you are murderous to the very people I like a lot in this show, sometimes it's like, dang, man. Oh, it's tricky. It's so tricky on what to do with him. Yeah. No worries, Maximilian. Hello there, by the way. I said, no problem being late. You can see where we are. Probably some pieces that are unsurprising in there. I mean, Ahsoka's up at the top. And it's Morgan behind me over here. And C-3PO down in the F tier at the moment. I added 2 new tiers, an F tier and a double S. So rather than just 5 tiers, we get to break it out across 7 this time. Because, I mean, heck, there are 74 characters I'm ranking. Because I'm also including the Kanan comics. So, yeah, all kinds of people. Oh, hey, by the way, if you're here, do click that like button. Maybe we'll pop some more people here into the live stream as we're on our way through. Unnecessary character. Ooh, which one are you talking about? You talking about as Morgan or C-3PO? It's got to be one of those two that you're referencing, right? I've got to assume it's one of those two since I was just talking about those couple a bit. Can't be Chopper you're calling unnecessary, right? I guess I see you could. I could call Chopper unnecessary. Well, anyway, who do we have next? So up next we have a Colonel Seer. Now this is Rackham Seer's brother. So we see him try to make up for a bit of the failings of his brother by going ahead and fighting Depa Billaba and young Caleb Doom over in the comics. And I don't know that there's as much to him as his brother when it comes to it. He's far more standard, straightforward. I think I'll still give him a C tier. I think. It's either that or a high D tier. I just don't feel there's enough to him as a character. Nah, it's D tier. It's D. I just do not feel there's enough to him as a character to go ahead and merit the C tier. It was close. Yeah. What can you do? Hey everybody, Commandant Arresco, who had a lot of development since the last time that I made this. After all, we had the Season 1 finale. God, who was it that left that comment? That I'll like him more after that. Yeah. Well, he got killed. So, nothing to raise the stature of his character, that's for sure. I mean, the only thing we did other than kill him in the course of that finale was have him go on another pointless opening cold action scene where he just couldn't capture rebels or do anything meaningful and had no real meaningful character to him. So, yeah. I mean, hell, even this guy up here, you can't see him because I'm in front of him. Even this guy up here, this cargo ship captain has more personality than Commandant Arresco does. And Commandant Arresco was in how many episodes? I don't get it. How did Commandant Arresco have so little personality to him? Oy. Hey, he's still better than C-3PO. and as Morgan. So he gets F tier, but better than those two. But the bloody cargo ship captain from the recent episode beats out Commandant Arresco. Dang. Maximilian, you're saying something Kanan comic, like the Kanan comic. Yeah, me too. Sorry if you're hearing that in the background over there. Weekend, right? Let's see. I like the Kanan comic. Something's not felt enough as a separatist, had heroes too. Yes, indeed. And that was nice. We'll get to one of those people that could be considered a separatist hero Oh, dang, I just realized I didn't... I just realized I didn't include Grievous in here. Grievous is a character within the Kamen comics. I'll have to take care of that. My brain was just thinking, oh, of course, Grievous is already in here. My brain was somehow Clone Wars. So I did not include Grievous. Oops. Okay. Yeah, we'll get to that when we get there, because I will go ahead and at least placehold put him somewhere into here when I get to Grievous. Okay. So onward to another new character from Season 2. Commander. I think he's a Commander. Commander Sato. Commander Sato. Maybe someday we'll give him more and really learn more about him, get to know him better. I don't know. I'm honestly not sure if the show cares to. He's more of a functional character than he is a character we're supposed to really care about. Yeah, I think that's probably the best way to put it. You see, he's there to serve a specific purpose, and we just don't care more than that. So he's fine. There's nothing wrong about him. But there's just not enough. Not all that much. Yeah, I don't know. There's a little bit that's right about him. I think. Think he's gonna go low B tier. I'm just debating between B and C, really. Whether it's high C or low B. I like Constantine better than I like Sato when it comes to it. Yeah. Yeah, no. He's high C. He just can't quite crack the B. There's just not enough. Not enough for me to like Sato. Not yet. He could go up. I think he could go down. He's probably more volatile as to what's going to happen to Sato, just depending on whether the show cares to do anything with him. You're saying that Sato will get some development in Season 3, but not that much. Well, who knows? Even that's enough to potentially bump him to the B tier. He's on the cusp of B and C, so if they do a bit for him, then he'll probably end up a little higher next time I do this. But for now, I think he ends high C tier. Just doesn't quite crack that B. Yeah. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Okay, so Commander Wolf is up next. So this is interesting. So we only really have those 2 episodes for Commander Wolf. I to be honest, I've been surprised that the other couple clones, both Wolf and Gregor, haven't popped back in yet. That one has surprised me. I figured by now they would have, especially with Rex being in here all the time. Or at least it feels like all the time, which is great. But, okay, so Commander Wolf, just off of the Rebels episodes. I'm not going to try to think anything more on that than that. I mean, he's the one who goes ahead and notifies Callus. Callus? Oh, gee, manga. You see me in pronunciations on things. See, now I'm double guessing myself on which way to say Agent Callus. I think it's Callus. Callus. Ah, shoot. Anyway, Agent Callus. He's the one who contacts him because he's worried about whether they'll be able to go ahead and keep living in freedom, I guess. Seems not the brightest cookie from making a move like that. I mean, you get the Imperials involved. It's not going to go well for you. I don't know. I need to see him some more. It's Wolf. I want to see more. I want to like him more. I think that's my biggest problem is I want to like Wolf more than I like him right now. And that frustrates me a little. So where are we going to put Wolf? Wolfie. Where do you go, buddy? The question is if Wolf and Gregor are emotionally stable enough, you say, Dominic. Well, that is an interesting question. I say Callus the other way than the one I settled on. Oh, it's Callus. Okay, it's Callus. Dang. Uh, that's as far as people that I mispronounced for the longest time. I suppose he probably is. Dang. So Callus, sorry, Agent Callus. Okay, so back to Commander Wolf. I think you were going to go here in the C tier, and he's going to go below Sato. I think he can easily get above Sato, but he needs to come back in. I want him to go ahead and come back in and end up higher than Sato. I'm sad to put Wolf over in the C tier. It's just where he's at, though, right now. True, Callus is the Cluedon's war hero. Indeed. I think that Callus might be a little more interesting than our Callus. But, yeah, what can you do? What can you do? Darth freaking Vader up next. Although, okay, divorce that from everything else I know about Vader. Just based on Rebels. Okay, so just based on Rebels, what have we seen of Vader? We saw a tease with Vader. Technically he existed in Season 1, although I don't think I ranked him. Because he was in for such a tiny little amount just to introduce the Grand Inquisitor. Very, yeah, clearly up tier, right. Worse than C-3PO. Anyway. So he technically exists in Season 1, but... sorry, and, in my first ranking, I should say. Obviously, it was at the end of Season 1. We very quickly showed him there, too. But really, it's Season 2. He's popped into the first 2 episodes of Season 2, plus the recent one, the Jedi Temple one. I'm just going to call it that. I can't think of the name of it off the bat. So anyway, he also popped into that one for a little bit at the end. But certainly the Siege of Lothal, Part 1 and 2, we did get to see him a fair bit, both in terms of fighting, in terms of, hey, finally actually flying, too, and what he can do in a fighter, as well as talking down on the surface, mainly, I think it was with Agent Callus. Wipe out a fleet in a fighter. Yeah, no kidding. It's like, so no, impressive. Oh, he was impressive. The question is, which of the top 2 tiers does he get? Does he go S or does he go double S? That's the question. Does Vader end up here, or does he end up here? Which of these two? That's my question, really. I'm not debating lower than that. He's better than an A. It's like, dang, we made him impressive even off of 1 episode. Well, 2 episodes. 2-parter. Yeah. Now we'll give him the double S. He doesn't beat Ahsoka by no means, but I mean, he's got some time to build on that if we pop him in again. Although even then, Ahsoka's going to be built more too, so I'd be surprised to have that one flip between those two. But yeah, no, he's double S. Yeah, he captured a Tarkin town. He also captured a bunch of pilots when he was out there fighting in his tie. Yeah, no, they can't use Vader much, exactly, and that's why I'm happy they haven't been, because if they had started doing that and overusing Vader in all the wrong ways, well, he wouldn't be sitting up in the double S right now. That's for sure. He would be dropping badly. But in a rare case, they actually did a decent bit of development on him, really rounding him out, I guess I should say. Not development as much. It's not like he developed as a character a lot. But he was actually pretty well rounded, even just within Rebels, without taking everything else into account. Or at least trying not to. So they did a pretty good job, even for as little as we've seen of him. Okay, up next. Bonus points if anyone can identify what the heck that next image is supposed to be right there. So if anybody has what that image right there is supposed to be, just call it out. I'm just curious. If anyone's got it. Yes, and voiced by James Earl Jones. Heck, if that does not help how Vader does. Let's be frank, who knows, maybe he would have only taken S tier without James Earl Jones doing that voice. Oof. Yeah. Now, James Earl Jones, who, by the way, just turned 90 today, I think. Whew. Dang. Kind of crazy to think that he's 90. And heck, just went ahead and did the recent The Lion King most recently. I think that's most recent for him. Beyond any Rebel stuff. Probably. Yeah, that would be a few years ago. Yeah. So, let's see. And then James Earl Jones hopefully will pop back up to go ahead and play Mufasa in the next live-action one, since they're apparently doing the Mufasa focused. But in his 90s played Mufasa. Dang. Maybe we'll see him as Vader again at some point, doing that voice. Heck, how about the Obi-Wan series? I hope James Earl Jones is in there doing the voice for Vader if he pops in. We already know Hayden Christensen is in there. I don't know if Obi-Wan's going to pop across Vader, but hey, here's hoping. Okay, so I don't think I'm giving out any bonus points for anybody identifying what's up with that picture. Okay. So that is Emperor Palpatine, who we never actually see, but hey, we do get him voicing and talking with Vader. So, heck, if you could actually see over here in this spot, this would be Vader kneeling right before this. But yeah, we don't see Palpatine, so I can't give you more of an image for Palpatine than that. But, I mean, he's certainly there enough, I think, to count as a character. Certainly, I mean, again, there's more to him than some of these people in here. I mean, he's definitely Palpatine doing that. Sam Witwer was doing Palpy, huh? Interesting. Cool. Okay, so where does Palpatine go within there? I mean, if we're simply talking this, because I'm not going to include anything Clone Wars or prequels or original trilogy, or I suppose sequel trilogy for that matter. None of that. I'm trying not to count any of that here in terms of my opinion of Palpatine. Because if I was including all that, then it would say something different. I mean, he certainly plays the impressive role that he is supposed to within there. But again, it's brief and there's not a lot more to judge on him based off of that. Yeah, exactly. Basing on Vader's respect, I mean, that really helps sell Palpy a bit. It really does, even for as little as we see him. Or don't see him, actually, at all. Palpy, do you head up here somewhere, or do you head here? I think he's in one of these two tiers. He's B or C. He's not going to pop A, and he's not going to head down here into the D or F. So he's in somewhere in here. Does he make my B tier, or does he make my C tier? Yes, he's a mysterious force that's the evil behind the scenes. No, that is exactly what he is. And you can tell he has that power and that influence going on. Yeah, I think he's got to make B tier. I mean, after all, we've got Admiral Constantine. I think Palpy is more impressive than Constantine is off the bat, and also Captain Stiles. So I think he'll beat those two out. What about Callus and Chopper, though? I think he would lose to these two right now. But I guess this is the real debate, is where he goes in regards to Callus and Chopper. Yeah, I think he's going to go below Callus and Chopper for the moment. I think. Yeah, same thought, Maximilian. Same thought. I think he goes right in there at the moment. So, yeah, definitely, even from so very little that we've seen from Palpatine. Oh, yeah. Wonder if we'll get to see more of him or not. Because the Rebels so far plays a lot more toward the feel of the original trilogy. And if that's the case, we'll probably never see Palpatine, would be my guess. Or maybe we'll see him be a hologram. Maybe actually see him. But we'd never get more than that in here, if that is the case. Hard to say. That'd be my guess, I suppose, though. Okay, so with that, how many characters are we up to? We've ranked a good few here. We're up to 22 out of 74. There's a few to go. 22 out of 74. Should be 75 if I include Grievous. Okay. So Gall Travis, who really we've done nothing more with since I last ranked him. I suppose we did one thing. Via the HoloNet, we had a report that went ahead and said that Gall Travis had returned to the Senate, I think. So I think he's no longer ex-Senator Gall Travis, but actually a current senator now again, I think. So, not that that adds much to his character, but pretty much he's kind of the character he was last time around, which is an interesting character. I think Gall Travis, I think I'm going to pretty easily just... Effie's his character in the Star Wars universe. Does he go up here? Nah, he doesn't quite go up there. He's a character in the Star Wars universe. Huh. Maybe even Gall Travis or someone else. We're going to put him high C tier. Yeah. Up above Sato. Not quite good enough to make the B tier, though. That's where I think I'm going to put Exor, now Senator Gall Travis. I mean, if we bring him back in, he could go up, he could go down. For now, I think that's where he sits. Middling C tier. Now it's Ezra Bridger coming up. Okay, Ezra. Certainly he has gotten some more development since last time around. No question about that. Wow, if he hasn't. Oh, okay, Ezra, where are you now? I should use a new image for him. That's the same image I had from before. It should be interesting. He's tricky. I like Ezra more than last time. I think I'm gonna. Yeah, I can easily say that. Yeah, he is above Caleb Doom. It's like I like him more than last time, but where does he go? I mean, it's not Vader or Ahsoka. I can say that for sure too. Not yet an S for you, huh? Okay. Or is that making a guess on where I put him? I don't know. It's like, see, he's up to the point now where I want to like him more. Where I want him to keep going ahead and developing into a character I really want to rank even higher. That was not where he was last time. So that's interesting. So I'm rooting for him to keep going up in the rankings at this point. Because I like him enough and want to like him even more. Yeah, he's not S yet. High A tier though. But he just does not make the S. So if you were guessing me, yeah, you're right. It's like, it's just not quite there yet, but I want him to be. Next one is Ezra's parents. I just put them together because we kind of we hear about them. We see them kind of via Ezra. I'm not sure if that's supposed to really be them or what that is supposed to be exactly. Oh, Maximilian, you're saying Ahsoka wasn't always a double S either. Oh, very true. I mean, whether you're talking Clone Wars, I'm sure. I mean, heck, even here in Rebels, if you're just talking from when she was first introduced, if I'd done a ranking after the end of the finale of Season 1, I mean, she couldn't have gained a double S off of that. I mean, we just barely even saw her. So, by now, though, she's earned her double S. But also, of course, if you're talking Clone Wars... Oh, heck no, she wasn't double S at the beginning. She took a little while to go ahead and really gain a high status, that's for sure. Okay, so Ezra's parents. I mean, they seem like nice people, from what we know of them. I still question whether they're actually dead or not. I do have that question. I kind of want them to be dead just because it was a beautiful send-off, but... At the same time, there's just not a lot to those two. Dang. I'd like to see them in something. Maybe we get a flashback episode and actually get to see more of these two or something. Rebels isn't the kind of show to do that. But wouldn't that be cool? We just get we get a 2-part episode that just pops in and we just look at Ezra's parents for a moment. That'd be kind of cool, actually. I don't feel like it's the show to do it. But, yeah. Who knows? Maybe Ezra's parents will pop up into the Bad Batch show at some point. That would be kind of cool, actually. They could. Time frame wise, that would make sense. So let me shove this in here, and then I'll respond to you, Grumpy Dad, there on that question. So let's see. Where am I going to put Ezra's parents? It's like I like them. There's just not enough to them. Yeah, right there. Right below Wolf and right above Captain Rackham Seer. That seems like a good spot to put them. Yeah, I'm going there. Well, hello there, Grumpy Dad. So your question is, if I had to kill one of the main five, Ezra, Hera, Sabine, Zeb, Chopper, and Kanan, who would it be? Well, that's Chopper. That's easy. Sorry. That one's easy. Yeah, Dominic's got it a little bit after. Nah, it's Chopper. I mean, there's just not enough for me to like Chopper enough there. I suppose it's possible for that to change at some point in the show. I highly doubt it, though. I doubt Chopper would somehow not be the case of my pick. I mean, if Chopper wasn't there, yeah, it'd probably be Zeb. But, nah, Chopper definitely over Zeb right now. I don't know. Well, I'm counting Ezra's parents as people, as characters, because we know what Ezra told us, yes, but we know more than just what Ezra told us. We saw a vision through the Force and saw a little of them. We saw him having a vision where his parents were in there, which felt like that was not just him imagining, pretending it existed. That felt like it was supposed to be them a little bit more. I don't know. I feel like they exist at least a little bit there. So with that, I count them as characters, and then what Ezra said about them adds on top of it. I should say it's not just Ezra who's talked about them either. As far as talking about them, writer Azadi talked about his parents a little bit too. So there's been at least a little other talk. So I'm counting them. Yes, we know about their anti-imperial radio. Yes, indeed. But as I said, no, I'd love to see something where we actually saw them more. And whether that pops up in Rebels, which would be cool, or heck, Bad Batch. Okay, how about Fen Rao? Now, Fen Rao actually does... Oh, you're right, yes, the ex-senator, Gall Travis, did talk about them as well. That's for sure, you're right. Fen Rao did pop up into the Kanan comics. Tiny quick bit. But really, the main spot for Fen Rao to be talking about here is his appearance in Protectors? No, I think it's The Protector of Concord Dawn. Which I originally thought was a reference to a certain different character who most certainly did not pop up yet. Again, I know Maul pops up. Heck, he's on the bloody cover image for Rebels as a show, so I know he pops up sometime. Probably not a surprise anyway. But let's see. Fen Rao. He's interesting so far off of what we've gotten to see. Yeah, Protectors is the name of the group. I thought the name of the episode, though, was just the Protector of Concord Dawn, I thought. Which I think is why I went more for Darth Maul, is that the title of the episode was singular. Could be wrong. But I think that was how the episode was titled. Anyway. Neither here nor there when it comes to it, I suppose. Fen Rao. I think there's a lot of room to develop Fen Rao even more than what we've done. I'm sure we're seeing Fen Rao more than what we've seen. It's like, we are not done with Fen Rao yet at this point. I mean, we could be, I suppose, but I'd be really surprised if that's it for Fen Rao. We didn't treat him like he's done. Okay. So where do I put Fen Rao? I think Fen Rao is going to hit a B tier. I definitely like what we've done with him so far. And Better than Palpy so far. Callus. I think he's either right above or right below Callus at the moment. I think Callus is going to ride his high from the previous episode and just beat out Fen Rao for the time being. Just barely. Yeah, that's where he's going. I am. So it is, yeah. It was singular, which yeah, made me think, Darth Maul. Concord Dawn, right? No. But obviously the name had to be a specific reference to Fen Rao then, probably in that case. Want Fen Rao to show up in The Mandalorian. Oh, that would be fun. That would be fun. Hey, let's get some more Mandalorians in there. Okay, so who do we got next? We have Fifth Brother. God, I am not impressed with Fifth Brother. Dang. Kevin will make an awesome live-action Fen Rao. I really don't know what Kevin McKidd looks like. I'm just going to go quickly look. What does Kevin McKidd look like? Let's see. Interesting. Cool, cool. Kevin McKidd, huh? I wonder if I've seen him in something. Anyway. Yeah, no, yeah, I'd agree with you. Kevin McKidd looks like he'd do a fun job of actually looking the part for him, too. Nice. Yeah, both the new Inquisitors aren't that great. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Fifth Brother. Where the heck do I put you? You're so uninteresting. And just boring. Boring and cliche. Are you more boring and cliche than the cargo ship captain that I saw recently? Yeah, you are. He is more boring and cliche than the cargo ship captain. And he's been in numerous episodes. What the heck? I kind of feel like this is... Oh, dang, I'm blogging him. I kind of feel like this cargo ship captain is kind of like that standard, kind of like why I tossed the Lothcat in there the other time. You're more boring than a unnamed cargo ship captain. Dang, man. Okay, so Fifth Brother. He's certainly lower than that, but he doesn't go D or F. Oh, he goes F. He's down in the F tier. God, I just... What a waste of a character. That's what I feel about Fifth Brother. Waste of a character. He's better than Commandant Arresco, sure, but... What can you do? Up next we've got Gamut Key. So Gamut Key is an interesting character there. Gamut Key, the governor of, whatever that planet was, Casimir? I think it's Casimir. Anyway, an interesting, complex character, actually, in terms of what we do with Gamut Key, who clearly, one thing we clearly do know is that he cares about his people. Very clearly he cares about them. And I love the complexity we gave to his character over the series of both halves of the comic right there. So, yeah, it's like, so nice. I'd love to see Gamut Key pop up sometime into Rebels. Or heck, into Bad Batch when it comes up. Or, I mean, beautiful, beautiful character right there. Probably one of my favorite characters from the Kanan comics when it comes to it, too. There's a couple others that might take favorite, but no, Gamut Key's easily one of my favorites from the comics. I think we are going to go. Let's go ahead and grab Gamut Key, start him up. Nope, he's not here, not here. And certainly not here. I don't think he hits an S tier for me, although I really love Gamut Key, but I don't think he's quite good enough to hit an S tier. And hey, he's up here in the A tier. Certainly higher than Ezra Bridger, at this point in time for me. Man, I'd love to see Gamut Key pop back up again. And assuming they do a good job with him, of course. Yeah. Gamut Key was cool. Just misses out on that S tier. If we get to see him summon Rebels, maybe he'll pop up to that S tier. Oh, that'd be great. Okay, who do we got next? Okay, we've got oh shoot, what is his name? So that one is not Numa, because Numa's Numa's the one we actually know. The two people that were with Cham. So this one here is, give me a name, Gobi. So here's the thing, and it's going to be true for both Gobi and Numa. We didn't get a lot out of these two as far as that episode was concerned. I mean, I'd love to see some more of Gobi and Numa, but there's just not a lot to do with the two right now. Tricky. Gobi and Numa. Well, first Gobi, though. I feel like Numa got actually even a little more development than Gobi did, but barely. So they're not quite equivalent, but they're pretty close. They're both characters I'd like to see more out of. I hope Cham comes back, and if so, I assume Gobi and Numa will come back too. So they're both characters I very much would like to see some more development on, but there just isn't much to go on right now. I mean, I can't even give them B tier. There's just too little to who they are for it. I mean, I want to, because I want to like them, but I can't do it. So I think we are going to put Gobi here, above this Captain Sloane character, but I think AP5 beats out Gobi. I think. Whatever. AP5 goes below Gobi. Yeah, we're going to go there. There we go. Gobi over in the C tier. Kind of on the lower side, just because we just haven't done much of anything. So I just don't know him in any kind of real meaningful way. But hopefully we'll get to see more. Oh, and wow, look at this next character. That's an F tier right there. I mean, that's worse than as Morgan. Moff Tarkin. Right. Not that anybody said that, but same joke. It's like, obviously he's going up. Question is, how high does Grand Moff Tarkin soar? That's the question. I mean, he's got a lot of open space to play with. Is he playing in the S tier or the bottom of the double S tier? That's where Tarkin's headed off to. The question is only which. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm going to grab Numa, though, and put her in while I'm at it. I already gave away where Numa's going. Numa's going right there. So, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Numa just gets to sit right over there next to Gobi. Anyway, Grand Moff Tarkin. Will I finally get an entry on the S tier, or does he double S as well? Man, I'm starting to wonder why I made an S tier when I'm shoving everybody into double S or A. Somebody will go there eventually. Yeah, Tarkin was our first competent villain, to be sure. I feel, it's like Tarkin was well used, to be sure. I mean, he at least gets to run here. And see, I'm also trying to divorce him from what else I've seen of Tarkin. So not include any Clone Wars, not include any Rogue One or A New Hope, or anything else I know of him. I just don't know that he makes the double S. I love Tarkin. I think he was a great character. I think he is my first entry into the S tier. First character in between there, so yeah. He kills the F guy. Indeed he does. Indeed he does. I should give him an extra tier. He should make double S just for getting rid of Commandant Arresco for us. Okay, how about Gregor? I like Gregor better than Wolf off of what we've seen. Again, just like Wolf, we need to see him some more. But I like him better than Wolf to start with. I mean, not sure what to do with him yet, though. I'm not sure where we're going with Gregor. It's a weird thing where, yeah, I'm trying to judge this not with Clone Wars, but I mean, he's changed so much since Clone Wars time period in that sense. Yeah, he uses Zeb as bait. Yeah, Gregor's a little crazy. Which makes him more fun, though, at least for now. I just don't have a lot more to do with him than that, but he is more fun, at least. Let's see. Where do you get to go, Gregor? Again, I need more of Gregor. Need more Gregor in here sometime, and more Wolf. Yeah, I think we go bottom B. I think he makes the B tier. I think he makes it in there. Wolf didn't, but I think Gregor does. Am I putting Constantine higher than him? Admiral Constantine versus Gregor, huh? I mean, Constantine's kind of fun. Gregor's I mean, they're similar in how I kind of care about these two characters at the moment. But I think we're going that way. Yeah. I think that's about right. I'm going to put him between Stiles and Constantine right now. But yeah. Yeah, hopefully Gregor will appear in the Bad Batch. Same with Wolf. Hopefully Wolf will pop up in there too. And Rex, of course. If Rex doesn't pop up in the Bad Batch, I'll be surprised. Oh, look. Who do we have up next? Another fairly two-dimensional character, everyone. There just isn't much to. Yeah. So this is Brahm, who apparently was one of Zeb's subordinates over in the Royal Guard, back over on his home planet of Lasat, before the fall of the planet to the Imperials. Before the slaughter, the genocide, I should say, of the planet to the Imperials. Yeah. I mean, again, there's just... I feel there's a little more to Brahm, at least in dimension as a character, than there was to what's-her-face over there, to Chava the Wise, but that ain't saying a whole lot. I mean, that's not saying a whole lot at all. We'll go high D tier. So, a little more to them than Chava, but there's just not much to them. I mean, this is part of why that episode just wasn't that great for me. I mean, look at where these two new characters go that were in there. They're D tier for me. It's sad. I like getting some more depth on Zeb and being able to see some more. I just wish the episode was a little better overall and wasn't quite as cliche as it was at moments. And in that clichéness, those two characters were both that as well. What can you do? What can you do? Oh, we're on to big characters now, aren't we? Okay, Hera Syndulla. So, and now General Syndulla or Captain, huh? True. Okay, Hera, where the heck do we put you exactly? Hera has not been treated as kindly by the show as I would like her to have been treated sometimes. It's like, it feels like sometimes we don't give her the development that I think she should get. Which is too bad. Like, the one episode we had with our B-Wing guy just was not... Just, But the other one, I mean, with her father, that was much better for her, for instance. Yeah. Yeah. So, Hera. I mean, Hera goes up high. This is probably not going to be the biggest surprise for anyone. The question is, how high does she soar? She's above Tarkin. I can say that off the bat. Is she above Vader or not, though? And this is Vader based off of what I have seen of Vader at this point. Always a tricky thing. Like, when it comes to a character like Hera, I can say this is Hera based off of everything I've seen of her. Pretty much. Actually, I guess I saw her in Star Wars Squadrons, aside from that teensy little point. Which, speaking of, I'll be playing that again Tuesday. Going Imperial side, though, huh? Okay. So, Hera. Do I like you better than Vader from what I've seen of Vader? Yeah, I think I do. I think Hera pops up here. Yeah, I think that's the case. I think Hera pops up there. I mean, Vader was cool. Very cool. But I think Hera beats him out right now. I mean, if I had to pick one of the two to go watch on... Oh, actually. If I had to pick one of the two to watch on screen in Rebels right now, which one would I pick? That might not be the best way to evaluate that. Yeah. I'm putting her above Vader. Yeah, I'm doing it. Hondo's up next. Oh, I'm so glad, but we got to see Hondo more than just that one time, because he was fine in that one time. But certainly the rest has been even more Hondo-y of Hondo. And even for trying to divorce out the Clone Wars stuff and ignoring that, it's like, oh man, Hondo's awesome. Hondo's awesome. Who doesn't like Hondo? Exactly. Everybody loves Hondo. I agree. I think everybody loves Hondo. You can't not love Hondo. Hondo goes at double S. He's probably going to be near the bottom of the double S, but he goes double S. So, we need live action Hondo. Yes. Live action Hondo. Also, Hondo and Bad Batch. We need Hondo and Bad Batch, too. See the fall of Hondo. RDJ. Oh, give me the acronym. Who are we saying? RDJ. So, Robert Downey Jr. Oh, okay, right. Robert Downey Jr. is Hondo. Yeah, I can see that. That would be funny. Yeah, I can definitely go that direction. Yeah, I know who Robert Downey Jr. is, definitely. But yeah, I can see that. He's got the sense of humor to pull it. That'd be fun. Okay, so these next two that are down here in my corner are Jaikel and... Oh, shoot. Anyway, those two. To be honest, I'm surprised that we haven't seen neither of them again. We didn't see either. Or actually, did we see the one again? Well, anyway, we really haven't done much of anything with these two over here. I figured for sure the way that we played them off that last time that we would have seen one or both of them again by now. We've gone pretty much all the way through season 2. I mean, there's a few episodes left. But we've gone all the way there without having seen them again. Huh. Yeah, I just figured I'd have more to go on by now on these two. Leonis gave Ezra some information, but he was there 10 seconds. Yeah, okay, yeah, I thought so. So we did see him again for a brief bit. I thought we saw him for a little bit. It was in my memory there, but yeah, it wasn't enough to really add much of anything for him as a character. But yeah, where do these two go? See, now they're getting further distant in memory, and they kind of fade a little bit at this point, just because there wasn't that much. Well, hello there, Bobber. Oh, and I should say, well, hello there, Gyroscope, and R as well, because I don't think I said hello when you two popped in. So, you two as well. Okay, so our other cadets. Again, they certainly have potential. We just need to see them develop some of that potential sometime. So, C is kind of this tier of potential, but there hasn't been enough done for these characters, as you'll notice. If you just look at this tier, that is what that is. Whereas the B tier, I mean, even these people at least have a little bit going for them. Funny enough, yeah, Gall Travis is barely C tier. He's close between C and B because he's had a little more development, and I do like him a bit, but yeah. I think he also gets knocked a little because I don't think they made the best decisions in some of that development. You finished the line again, Bobber. Indeed you did. Let's see. Yeah, I think these two are going to pop right in here. I think they are going C tier, and they're going below Wolf and above Ezra's parents. I think that's where they both go for now. And I welcome seeing either and both of them back in the series to develop them further. And I hope so. I mean, I expected before now we would have seen them again, so having gotten all the way through season 2, I'm still going to say I expect to see them again. I still do. Certainly, and especially, I expect to see the one. Probably not as much Jaikel. Jaikel could be left alone without as much issue. But at least Leonis, so much, that was clearly a storyline, a story thread that was meant to be followed up on. I don't know. Who knows? See what we see. Okay, up next we have Janus Casimir. So Janus Casimir, who, by the way, Kanan, who it goes ahead and essentially takes his name from, or bases his name off of Janus Casimir right there. So back in the comics on Janus Casimir, who, by the way, is a character I would love to see pop up into Rebels. Or, heck, Bad Batch and whatnot too, of course. But, easily one of my favorite characters right there from the comics. Easily. I said this is not even a question on easily. Let's see. So, Janus Casimir. We're going to pop Janus Casimir up here into the S tier. Below Tarkin, though, I think. I think Tarkin gets to beat out Janus Casimir. Yeah. But he's S tier. He beats out Gamut Key for me. Oh, cool. Cool, Bobber. Nice. Okay. Yes, Jedi Knight Kanan Jarrus. So Kanan, where do you go? Why hold that one out? I don't think there's a lot of question on this one here. As far as the show Rebels, and compared to everybody else here in Rebels, and just talking that, Kanan goes there. I don't think anybody's able to beat him right now. Granted, the comics don't help any in terms of the fact that I know more of Kanan too. It's like all the way up to the top. So no reason to hold that out or try to build suspension on Kanan. And no, I don't think anybody can beat Kanan right now. Eventually, maybe though. I mean, Ahsoka has the potential to go ahead and go higher as far as Rebels is concerned. Hera obviously could get some more development. Vader can get some more development. Heck, they could do Kanan wrong. They could go ahead and lower Kanan, in my opinion. So there's certainly room to play around in this double S tier up here. But certainly for now, I mean, Kanan is easily the top on the double S. So there is a little bit of a gulf between him and anyone else, even Ahsoka right there. I mean, if Ahsoka were the main character of Rebels, well, this would probably be different because we'd have seen a ton out of her. Was there any doubt? No, that's why it was just no reason to talk about that one too much. Now, Kanan is a heck of a cool character. Very, very nice character. I said sometime probably read that book. What is it, A New Dawn or something like that? I think that's the name. Sometime, hopefully read that one, get that other backstory on Kanan. That'll be fun. And also, I suppose, the backstory on that character over there, Captain Sloane. The Yoda in the show is weird and creepy. Yeah, visually he certainly is. Get to him in a bit, because he's finally popped down into the bottom corridor. Okay, so up next. Oh, speaking of characters with a lot of potential. Ketsu Onyo. And she popped back up, too. I was rather happy to see her at the beginning. I think it was the most recent episode. Yeah, it was. A Forgotten Droid. Or The Forgotten Droid. Anyway, she popped up into the beginning with the little briefing scene there. So I imagine she's going to be in here more and probably in the finale. Because that felt like a build-up for the finale as well. Because I don't know why you bring her in for something as small as that otherwise. It was just way too small otherwise. So I'm hoping we see her more there, which means we'll get to develop her more. And I love the relationship between her and Sabine. So I think there is definitely a lot of potential to her character, and I like what I've seen so far. Who knows? If we could flash back to the two of them, Ketsu and Sabine, back over in the Imperial Academy or something, that could be pretty cool too. Who knows? We'll see what we see. But for now, Ketsu Onyo. Ketsu Onyo. I don't think Ketsu Onyo can pop an A tier yet. I just don't think we've seen enough from her. I just can't quite do it. But I can toss her atop of the B tier. I think that's where I can put Ketsu. Better than Cham. Yeah. I like her better than Cham off the bat. I think the biggest knock on Cham really is the unearned character development during that episode. If he had earned that character development, hell, he might be A tier if he had earned his character development. But he didn't. Whereas Ketsu felt like she earned the character development we did see during that episode. And she's on the cusp of A. She really is. Give her a bit more here, and I think we can. Then she'll probably pop an A tier next time around. And we've got to be seeing her here in the finale. It's got to happen. Let's see. In the sequel Rebel show, I hope Mando, Grogu, and Ahsoka are in it, or have cameo, yada yada. Yeah, I guess I don't know where. I haven't heard about a sequel Rebel show yet, so all kinds of people that hopefully will pop into a sequel Rebel show. I'll just say, careful what you say about anything about a sequels or anything else, because obviously I still have 2 seasons of this show to watch, so just be careful. Not that you've said anything, but still. Let's see, what else do we got? Up next, let's go to Cleve, who is also one of my favorite characters over in the Kanan comics. Man, what a complex character with so much going on. Oh, love it. We have some complex characters in here when you take Gamut Key and then Cleve, or John Doe, actually, as he goes by now, after the Clone Wars. Oh, interesting characters. Love for them to pop up. Heck, I'll take something that's just an adventures of Cleve and Janus. I was going to say Jarvis for a moment, which is not quite the right set of shows, movies, etc. Okay, Cleve. So, I knew this was coming. I now have to debate Cleve against Janus. This is the only reason that I wasn't sure if Janus is actually the top character from the comics or not. It's because of Cleve. So, it's called He's Either Here or He's Here. He's not going to be out Tarkin, I don't think. And he's not A tier, he's S tier along with. But is he here or is he here? Does he beat out Janus Casimir? I mean, they are both intriguing, good characters. Whoever created them, nice job there on doing those two. I'm going to put Janus higher. Yeah. There we go. Janus gets to have the higher spot, but Cleve gets to go ahead and have the spot right near him. He is definitely close. Yeah. Oh, and look at the comics characters I've got all the way up here in the top. There's Janus, Cleve, Gamut, Key. Man, if they would just pop up here into Rebels sometime, oh, that would be nice. Ah, well, hello there, Star Wars fan. Glad you agree. Yes, such good characters. Lando Calrissian is up next. To be honest, I'm surprised by how little we've seen of Lando since Season 1. We saw little of him, but not much. Not much. Huh. Surprising, really. I mean, who doesn't like Lando, right? I mean, I can easily say who doesn't like Lando, but beyond that, I'm just not sure what to do with him. It's like I need more of him because I'm trying not to think of Lando from what I know of the original trilogy. I'm trying to just base him off of Rebels here, which is tricky. It's tricky not to include things you know about a character from elsewhere. And you'll fail ultimately. You just will. Cool Bobber. I have never played the new Lego Star Wars game. Couldn't make any real meaningful commentary on that. I don't think I've played any Lego Star Wars game, actually. So, no meaningful commentary from me there. Okay, so where is Lando going to wind up today? I just can't do it. I can't give him an A tier. And he's going to just probably top out the B tier for me. That's probably where Lando's going. He's probably going to top it out. Yeah. What can you do? I just need something more out of him. Then he can cross that line and go up just a little bit further. I mean, I love his personality, but he's just not there. Okay, so Lieutenant Yogar List, who apparently was in Season 1. He was just this little background guy, so I kind of overlooked him last time around, so my bad. But he was there. So, I guess I think he was even the one that, well, no, because that was the end of Season 1. That was the finale. Maybe that was the only time. Maybe I didn't miss him. Well, anyway. Well, no, he's the one who captured the old friend of Ezra's parents, Morad Sumar. So he was in Season 1. But anyway, saw a lot more out of him here in the Princess Leia episode. The Princess on Lothal. Now, there's not a lot to him, to be frank. They could go... He's kind of blank slate territory to a degree. They could go either direction they like with him. He's not dull and boring as Commandant Arresco or something like that. But there's just not much to him as a character. So, we'll just give him a top of the D tier. I will not quite shove him into C, but there's just not a lot to him. Actually, nah, he doesn't get to go up above there. Yeah. So almost top of the D tier. Gron gets to go higher. I liked Gron better. Lothcat. No. That's not where the Lothcat goes. The Lothcat goes right here. What you talking about? Boom. Double ass. Yeah, the Lothcats are fun. What? You don't agree with the Lothcats up with the double S right there? I mean, we could get rid of the rest of these people. We're just going to have the show focus on Lothcats. Boom. I just gave a great new Star Wars show. Lothcats, the show. So it was kind of a joke the other time around tossing Lothcats in, but also had its own purpose. So where do the Lothcats end up at? Who's worse than a Lothcat, huh? You need to see a Wookiee eat a Lothcat. Ow. Dang. I certainly don't need to see that. Don't need that image in my head right there. Let's see. So who doesn't beat out a Lothcat at this moment? I think the Lothcats are actually going down into the C tier here. Pretty sure that's where they're going to go. So, just right up here. Question is where? Unlimited power, indeed. Come join the dark side. We'll have dark side Lothcats too. That would be the sense of humor for Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, wouldn't it? Go ahead and roast a Lothcat on a stick. Yeah. I think the Lothcat is going about there. About dead center of the C tier. So people to the right of that Lothcat, so far Lothcats beat you out. But there's a lot of potential for development here. Probably not so much potential for Ezra's parents, unless we get a flashback episode or something. But certainly for most of these characters, oh, well, I guess not for you, you're dead too. But anyway, for these four, they all could get a little more screen time, and we could see something more out of them. Depa Billaba. So speaking of characters from that Kanan comics, where does Depa Billaba pop up to? Interesting question, we ask. I definitely quite liked Depa Billaba. Too bad we didn't really get to see her in Clone Wars. That could have been fun. And obviously she won't pop up in the Bad Batch because she's kind of, well, dead. Yeah, unless we want to do some crazy-ass retcon where she somehow didn't die. Don't see that happening. So without that, Depa Billaba, where do you end up at? Depa Billaba. Yeah, I thought she was really interesting. Does she? Yeah, I think I'm gonna put her low A tier. I'm gonna put her low A tier. Yeah. That's where she goes. By the way, I have Caleb Doom lower than Ezra. Do I really have that? You know what? That's changing there. Ezra should be below Caleb Doom. I think Caleb Doom was better off than Ezra was as a whole. Yeah, I think so. And frankly, so is Depa. So, yeah, there we go. Sorry, Ezra, I want you to be higher. You're not yet. No worries. See you around later, and you can go ahead and, of course, the video will be up on YouTube, so you'll be able to go and see the rest of it later. We're getting there. You can see the end. There is actually black down here in the bottom. Whoop. Can't put my hand too far there. You can't see it anymore. But there's actually black down in the bottom, so we are actually getting there. Zeb will be the last to rank. Good old Z on his name. Yeah, no, there's a lot more room for Ezra to grow. There really is. He's definitely A tier now. Definitely is, but yeah, he's just on the low end of it. So here's an interesting one next up. We have Master Drawlig. That's who is this character up over here. Barely see him. But this is not a character I'm used to, so I thought it was really interesting him popping up over into the Kanan comics. And what was really interesting is he's got to exist somewhere else. Because it's not enough that it felt like we were just tossing him in as a way to create a new character. So, man, it's like there's got to be more to him sometime. But hey, he seemed interesting off the bat. Of course, there's not much to really go on right there at all. So this guy's not going to go very high just because I don't know much of anything about him. And I mean, not much of anything about him at all. So this is kind of classic low C tier right here. And of course, I'm sure he's dead, so there's nothing else going on. Well, maybe he's not dead. Maybe he survived the Order 66 and the initial purge after that, too. It's possible. I think Sloane seems more interesting. Yeah, he'll hit bottom C tier. Oh, hey, it's Melon Guy. You know what? I don't think I'm... Yeah, Melon Guy. I think that's even what I named him. There's just not much to Melon Guy. And I'm not even sure if it's the same guy between different things. It could just be a different Ugnaught. Ugnaught? So... Yeah. Let's instead... We're not going to call him Melon Guy. This is going to be Grievous from the Canon Comics, since I screwed up and forgot to go ahead and create a Grievous for here. So that is actually going to be General Grievous from the comics. Ha. And this is General Grievous just from the comics, not from everything else I know of. Which actually they did a lot with Grievous over in the Canon Comics. So we got to see a decent bit of him. So Melon Guy is now General Grievous. I'll fix it next time around. Next time we'll actually genuinely have Grievous in here as an image. If I could fix it on the fly, I would, but it does not let you do that, so I don't think I can just add something to it. But anyway, so Melon Guy is Grievous, a very different looking Grievous today. Where does Grievous from the comics go? I think Grievous from the comics is easily A tier. It's going to look really weird to anyone seeing this after the fact, or that just jumps in at the end and sees, what? Why is Melon Guy up there? Or a random Ugnaught anyway. I think Ezra beats out Grievous from what I've seen in the comics. I do have to say from what I've seen in the comics. I mean, if we're talking Grievous as a whole, it's a different matter. But just from the comics, we don't get to see as much out of Grievous. He's certainly still A tier. Yeah. Yep, I think I'm pretty good with that. Even if it looks like I just put an Ugnaught above Lando Calrissian. Minister Maketh Tua. So we killed her off just early this season in the two-part opener, while doing a little more character development for her at the same time as she went ahead and had some real questions and regrets over what was going on. So hey, we did give her a little character development and then killed her. Have I seen the Genndy Tartakovsky Clone Wars? Oh, the other Clone Wars. No, I have not. I'm planning to go ahead and do that over the course of a couple videos at some point. Probably, I mean, that's probably after I finish Rebels. It's either that or I would take a couple weeks in the middle, but it's probably once I'm done with Rebels, I'll go and do it. So, I suppose that's a while. It's a while from now, but we'll get there. We'll get there, but I figure with how much there is, probably 2 weeks worth. 2 videos, I should say. Has the best Grievous. Interesting. I assume that's Grievous. Yeah. Yeah, I know, I'm curious to see it. So, sometime. So, Maketh Tua, or Assistant Minister Maketh Tua. Definitely that last bit of development helped her a bit. But even then, I mean, it wasn't enough to save her as a character and truly make her like a really good character or anything. Even if it made her better than where she was. It has an Anakin get knighted. Nice. That's cool. Okay, Tua, where are you going? Minister Tua. God, another one of those Imperials that just was not that great. That all things said, hey, it's good that she got killed off. Make way for characters that they're going to put more effort into. I mean, even with her last minute change of heart and trying to give her a bit more of character. Here, you can have the top of the dang D tier. I just still think it was a waste of a character, generally speaking. I debated C tier. I mean, it was a debate between low C and D tier here. But there's so much of that character was just a waste. That last development was good, though. If we had done much of anything with it. Yeah. It had potential, but then we killed her, so. Okay, Morad Sumar. Speaking of somebody there's not much of anything to talk about here. We just don't know this guy at all. I don't hate him. He's not going to go F tier just because I don't hate the character. But yeah, he's going to go right there, bottom of the D tier right now. There's just nothing to him. Alright, let's just move on. Morphizo. Really, we know Morphizo a little better from the Kanan comic, but we don't know either of them very well. Heck, Morphizo apparently even went ahead and was joining a rebel cell, or was in a rebel cell, which means we could potentially see him here in Rebels sometime. He could be a rebel. I wouldn't be surprised to see Morphizo pop up in that kind of way. That would be kind of neat. Don't know if we will. So another one of these characters with potential that we just don't know much out of. I think you are solidly right about here. Hey, look at that. We expanded everything out. We can no longer really quite see the end anymore. I think he's solidly right here. So I don't quite like him as much as Seer over here, but I think he's got more than Numa and Gobi at the moment, with room to grow. Okay, Obi-Wan, but based purely on his minor appearance in the Kanan comics. I mean, if this were Obi-Wan, we all know he's double S tier. But from his minor appearance in the Kanan comics, he's not. We just don't get enough out of him in the Kanan comics to justify that. Although, in fairness, I guess, if I'm talking everything, we also do get to see a recording over in the one holocron of Obi-Wan too. That's also Rebels. So I should include that, because that is a recording of Obi-Wan. So in fairness, I'll include that too. So there, we've got a little more. That'll help bump him up a little more than if it was just purely the Kanan comic. So at least we have a holocron recording. Obi, there just is not enough based on those two pieces to do much with him. I mean, if that was all I ever knew of Obi-Wan, let's pretend that is all I ever knew, just what I saw in Kanan comics, plus the holocron recording that we saw of him at the end of season 1. If that was it, man, Obi-Wan would just not be one of those favorite characters. You're just like, he seems interesting. I mean, he's solid B tier is where he would go. Yeah, solid B tier. You could go about right there. So again, heavy, strong caveat. This is only Obi-Wan based purely in terms of the Kanan comic and the holocron appearance in Rebels. He's undoubtedly far higher for me otherwise. But just based on that, he's got to go here in B tier. I just can't go higher than that for him. There's just not enough to him. Well, here's somebody I missed last time. So this time I've got Old Joe. So down over here, it's Old Joe. I mean, there's not really a whole lot to him. I actually realized how I missed him because he popped up via hologram in the first episode of Season 2 here. He's the one who introduced Minister Tua to them to say that she wanted to defect and all that. But, I mean, there's just not much to him as a character. I mean, not much at all, let's be frank. He's going to go bottom C tier. I suppose this is almost got... Oh, I suppose this almost has an arc kind of going in and out here. As you'd expect the C tier to be bigger, right? Princess Leia. They did well with Princess Leia in the one episode she was in. I was impressed. I was definitely impressed with what they did with her in the one episode. I mean, headstrong, planned out, eloquent, diplomatic. Of course, able to screw up and make mistakes too. So, yeah, no, they did a nice job with her, even with just one episode here. I think we are given a solid A tier here. I don't think she can beat out Ezra. I've just known too much of Ezra, and I am rooting for Ezra enough. Should go above Grievous, though, from Kanan Comics. But I think she pops right here below Ezra. Yeah. Okay, up next, beyond Princess Leia, we have Quarry, who we've only seen in one episode. Just, our little Hera and Quarry B-Wing making episode. And, there's not a lot to Quarry. He plays kind of the stereotypical old guru kind of character. The hermit guru. To be frank. And even that, even a little more cliche than you might normally see the hermit guru played. But anyway, that is Quarry. So, cliche-ish hermit guru. I like him, though. That helps. He's going to go low C tier. So, he's going to go up above old Joe, because I like him better than that. But, yeah. Not very high, though. Maybe if we see him again. I don't have any confidence we will ever see Quarry again, but if we do, he has better potential to go higher. Rex, R3X. Star Tours Rex. I mean, if I got to include Star Tours, maybe I'd go higher for him. But I can't. I can't include that. So there just isn't much to him here as a character. Let's be honest. I wish there was more to him. But, and I don't know if I get to include the other use of the same kind of droid, because I don't think it was him. I think that droid was destroyed and blown up. But, yeah, bottom D tier. Bottom D tier. There's just not much of anything to him. R2-D2. I mean, he certainly does better than 3PO, that's for sure. I mean, not great, but certainly better than R2. Than 3PO. So, R2, where are you going, buddy? Oh, okay, now here's the trick. I'm trying to take out everything I know about R2 that is not Rebels, and this is hard. I know R2 way too well. It's true about 3PO too, but just how bad we used him in Rebels sticks in my mind, at least. Whereas R2 doesn't stick as much in the head one way or another. It's not like we did him horrible. And we did see him again here recently when we did a handoff of material to him. So we have actually even seen him recently. Not that we saw much of him in that. So R2-D2, where do you go? Purely based on Rebels. Nothing else being included for R2. And that does make it trickier, because there's not been as much for R2 to go off of here in Rebels. I think R2 goes right here. I think maybe AP5 beats out R2 for the moment. Does he? Simply based on Rebels? Nah, simply based on Rebels, we're going to go up here. There we go. There's R2 for the moment. Easily room to grow, room to go up, room to go down. Plenty of possibilities. Do I know what's going to happen with them yet? Oh, God, no. Heck if I have a clue. Rex. Oh. So love that he's become so commonly used here in the show. Oh, yeah, definitely love that we've got Rex around. So where does good old Captain Rex go? Captain? I think it's Captain Rex right now. And I'm sorry, Hondo, Rex is going to beat you out, buddy. And that said, not good enough to beat out Vader right now, but Rex is going all the way up here to the double S tier. Low on the double S, but up to the double S. Love Rex being in the show. Definitely, yeah. Now, next up, we've got a character that I think has a lot of potential. And if we've got to see him again. If we don't see Ryder Azadi again, I'm going to be really, really surprised that we don't see him. we've gotten but just the 2 episodes with him. The one where Ezra and Kanan went back to Lothal regarding his parents. They met him. Then he was in that Princess on Lothal episode right after that. And, heck, he joined the rebellion at that point. So, again, we've got to see him again. Not to mention, I mean, the person we've got doing his voice, it's great, too. So, so much good potential. And definitely a bit of a character even to start out with here. So if I'm putting Ryder Azadi up, I think Ryder Azadi, I don't think he can hit A tier yet. He just doesn't have enough to him. But I think he beats out both Lando and Ketsu to top out the B tier for the moment. Oh, there's so much potential right there. I really liked him. He appears in some books, huh? Okay. So maybe that would help. Hopefully he appears in some more Rebels. Don't tell me, but I'm hoping he appears in some more there too. Okay, at least in one. Cool. Good to hear. Hey, we've got just one row down here across the bottom now. So that's all, everybody that's left. You can see Zeb in the corner. And speaking of characters I love in Rebels, it's time to go ahead and rank Sabine. Okay, so what have we gained on Sabine recently? More of Sabine being Sabine. We introduced Ketsu, an old friend of hers, which definitely went back into her story a bit. Also, the Protector of Concord Dawn episode definitely dug into Sabine a bit, gave her some character development. Probably the episode with Ketsu and the episode over with Fen Rao were probably the 2 biggest Sabine episodes I can think of in the last season worth of episodes. And those were both really good for her. We need more. Definitely we need more. But dang, if I don't continue to love Sabine as a character. And just to make that point, that is where Sabine goes. So, as I said, continue to love Sabine as a character. Again, if Ahsoka was one of the stars of the show, it probably would look different up there because we would do a lot more with her in this show. But yeah, Sabine, number 2 up here. Number 2 only to Kanan. Oh, I love those characters. I mean, that double S tier right there is a beautiful, beautiful tier of characters. So many good characters. Okay, up next we got Samo Quid. Now, we don't know a lot about Samo Quid. He was one of the other Padawans turned whatever the thing is you call in between... Actually, sorry, Initiate, between Initiate and Padawan. He was one of the other ones that was kind of in that in-between spot because they just passed the 1 trials. Old friend of Caleb Doom. One assumes he died, but to be honest, I have no idea if he died or didn't die. But there's just not a lot to them as characters. It's kind of sad, really. To be honest, there's so little to them. Yeah, I can't even give them C tier. I'm tossing both of these 2 in here. And yeah, I'm tossing Tai Azuma in there too. Tai Azuma is the more interesting of the 2. There's a little more personality to Tai Azuma than there is to Samo. But I think they're both solidly down here at the top of the D tier. I just don't care about them at all. I'd like to care about them, but I don't. Someone could expand on them, assuming they even survived Order 66. If they didn't survive Order 66, you probably can't even do much with these characters. Bail Organa. We really haven't done much of anything else with Bail Organa. I figured we'd really see him again a good time since the last time. We've referenced him, talked about him. Did we see him by hologram once? I don't think so. So yeah, we just haven't done much with Bail Organa. There's a lot of room to do stuff with him, but we haven't done it. So where does Bail Organa go, you ask? Well, Bail Organa is almost assuredly going to hit the B tier. He's not having, there's just not enough to him, as far as this show is concerned, for him to be A tier, and he's certainly not so bad as to be the C tier, or so little on him to go there. But there's just not a lot to go on. I think he goes right here. Above Obi-Wan, based on purely the Kanan comics and Rebels, which there's not a lot to go on that. Oh, and look at that. We've now expanded this out a little further. So I'm going to scroll this down just a little bit. Make sure it doesn't go off the top of that screen. There we go. I think I can do that. Okay, so I'll just hold people up. So up now we have our next person. This is Seventh Sister. So there is not much at all to go on Seventh Sister. You just like Fifth Brother down here. These are just not the most interesting characters right now. You know what? She goes there. She goes on F tier, above Fifth Brother, but not, yeah. 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 Although she is more interesting than Fifth Brother, but you know what? I'm going to put her above these two. Yeah, she gets to go above there. That's how much I dislike Fifth Brother. You were saying, oh, counterpart to Palpy and Rebels. Yeah, Bail Organa has been so far, which makes sense too in that sense. Well, hello there, Darscal. Welcome. We're near the end. We've got only 4, 8, 11 characters to go. Oh, and that Ugnaught over there, if you're going ahead and seeing him, that Ugnaught right there is actually a stand-in for General Grievous from the Kanan comics. He may not look like one, but that's who he is. Okay, so who do we have up next? This is Stance right here. So CT1157. This is clone friend of Caleb. So he was also really green, got killed, which actually provoked Caleb to have, I guess, a really light brush with the dark side. If that's what we were referencing with Kanan on his brush with the dark side, it's really not much of a brush at all. No, I have not finished season 2 yet. The final 3 episodes, the finale, I haven't done. Kind of like when I did this in season 1. I hadn't done the finale yet, but I've done everything short of that. So, final 3 episodes I haven't seen. Everything short of that, though. Okay, so, looking, I said that'll be next week. I'll be doing the live stream on the finale of season 2. That'll be fun. So, Stance, where do you go, bud? There's just not enough to you. I think Stance is kind of right about here. Below Wolf, but above all the rest of these here, he's more interesting. But I think Wolf is a better character overall. Tapusk. As far as the characters from the Kanan comics, Tapusk is just not the most interesting of those characters. There's just not enough to really talk about Tapusk right there. Oh, sorry, what day next week? Next Sunday. So, Sunday at noon Pacific time. Same time as this stream right here. So, a week out. So, yeah, everybody feel free to join me in just under a week's time. So, 2 hours under a week's time. So, a week from today. And we'll be doing the end of season 2 of Rebels. It's going to be fun. Okay, so Tapusk. Tapusk is kind of the more cliche role, which is kind of sad. There could be more to him, but there just isn't. So Tapusk, again, I feel there could be more to him as a character. I think he's going to go here under Quarry. Oh, good. Well, I can't wait too, so definitely next week will be fun. And hey, it might change some where some of these people would have been ranked too, if I had seen it first, right? Oh, here we go. Taskmaster Grint. One of the most useless characters in this show. One of the most useless. Is he worse than Commandant Arresco? Yeah, probably. As bad as 3PO? No. There he is, right. He gets to have the nice obligatory spot right there next to Commandant Arresco. I am doing more squadrons on Tuesday, yes. I doubt that's enough to finish Squadrons unless the campaign is that short. But yes, I will be doing more Squadrons on Tuesday at noon. So I'll be putting up the little live stream link kind of thing, here a little bit later today. Grand Inquisitor. And we did actually get a little, the finale season 1 happened, so we definitely got all that development, and that actually was interesting. The way he chose to die actually definitely was character for him too, as well as here just recently when we got a little more backstory on who he used to be, which was intriguing. Now, of course, we could argue Anakin Vader kind of thing, and I should include that, but yeah, so, I mean, he became more interesting as a character. The way he chose to die also, I'm not sure whether to count that backstory piece on him, though. Which kind of wasn't backstory, just really more knowledge of who he used to be. Point blank. So, where does the Grand Inquisitor go in the end scheme of things? Far more interesting than his Inquisitor brethren down in the DNF tiers. That's for sure. But I think the Grand Inquisitor is going to pop his way in. Oh, sorry. Apparently, there was an argument that he wasn't dead, but how could that be possible? I have no idea. Again, we didn't see him die, and that I always leaves a possibility, but again, he shouldn't be alive after that. I'd be unhappy if he wasn't dead. Yes, and the Grand Inquisitor was a temple guard in Ahsoka's trial arc in Clone Wars. True, but again, I'm not going to base it off of that anyway, because this is just off of Rebels, but, yep. I don't even know if I'd include that. If I were ever doing a gigantic Clone Wars ranking, I don't know that I'd include it. You know how long it would take? Look how long it's taken to rank these characters here. Can you imagine ranking all of Clone Wars? That's hours of work. Oh, man. So where does the Grand Inquisitor end up? I think the Grand Inquisitor, in the end, will end up here in the B tier. What, Clone Wars? Worth the time? Yeah. I want to do it sometime. I'm not sure when, but man, that'll probably be a long live stream right there. First, I've got to go through and fish through all 7 seasons of Clone Wars to actually make sure I get everybody. That's going to take some time. I'm thinking here, but I'm debating whether he beats out the Emperor for what little we've really seen of the Emperor. Nah, he doesn't. Some of his own weakness goes ahead and pulls him down below. So I think that's where the Grand Inquisitor ends up, and he probably won't move much, considering. Although people around him certainly could. Zebo! To be honest, I'm surprised we didn't see Zebo yet this season. I thought we would. We referenced him once, finally. But we never actually saw Zebo. So there's just not going to be a lot more to do with him here. Zebo probably is going to be unsurprising where I put him. He's going to be over here in this C tier. And probably about right here, above Morphiza. Yeah, probably about there. After an episode, do I watch it again to see if I missed anything important? So I try to make the reactions in those videos as much as I can the first time that I'm seeing them, so I don't really do any true rewatch of it. As much as I do is I try to take notes to some degree while I'm watching it and just after I finish watching it. And so then I'm basing it on my notes. I don't actually write out full scripts for what I do for Rebels or for Clone Wars, really. So I have notes and outline kind of thing, and then I, just go at the actual time when I'm recording it. But sometimes I'll have to go back into the episode because I'll put little time notes on there just because I'm too into it or something else. Or heck, if it's an episode that has really grabbed me, then I'm just going to have to go ahead and go through it again to go make my notes off it just because I was way too into it to do it. There certainly have been those. But otherwise, maybe I'll go back into a certain time index because there's something I needed to write down from that spot, but I just couldn't write it down at that time. But I don't really do a full rewatch again, with the exception of something that I live stream first and then go through, because I didn't take notes on it when I live streamed it. So I could take the notes off the live stream, but usually I just go ahead and watch it again and take my notes while doing it. But otherwise, for the things that I'm not live streaming, yeah, I take notes the first time around. Then I'll end up going ahead and usually I grab the images after I record, so grabbing the images and seeing the episode again that way doesn't add to it. Sometimes I take the images before I record, in which case then I've kind of seen a little bit more, but I'm usually going to, heck, I might be going 4x speed through the episode as I grab those images. So yeah, no, really it is just one time, because my idea is not to go ahead and catch anything that I might have missed the first time, but really just to give you what my experience was the first time. So not a strong full breakdown. Which is not, say, the same as what I do on other things that I've done on this channel. Let's say whether we're talking the documentary series that they did on Mandalorian, or whether we're talking the Frozen one, or whether we're talking Muppets Now when I did that, or any of those. When those are the breakdowns, those I do tend to go back through. Also, I'll look online to see if there's stuff I missed. For that stuff, I do that. But not for Rebels and Clone Wars, because the point really is about it being what my initial reactions are. So yeah, there we go. Long-winded answer to the question. Darskell, so when I watch the finale, I'll want to watch it again. Lots of Easter eggs that I've... Yeah, good. From what everybody said. I mean, if it's as good as what everybody's been saying, I mean, it would be like having watched the finale to, well, Clone Wars. Which, even if I'd watched that initially the first time on my own without it being live, I'd have to probably watched it again to take my notes, because I'm sure I would have been too glued into it to do it. And, of course, in this case, I will, because it'll be something I watch live first, so then I'll watch it again and take my notes while watching live. Or, well, not while watching live, while watching by myself. But even then, I'll try not to go ahead and touch too much into that. But when they're after the live ones, sometimes I'll mention what some of you mentioned over during the live stream, too. So that happens. Okay, we're down to our end characters here. Vizago. We did get to see a little more of Vizago here in Season 2, along with Hondo. Although, I don't think it did a lot for Vizago's character. It had a little, maybe, just not much. So, there's just not a lot to Vizago. I'd love for him to be rounded out more as a character. But there's just not much yet. Vizago. What do I do with Vizago? I think Vizago is probably a clear classic C tier. Although I think he is a C tier that goes up about here. So he's higher end of C tier. But he's got to grow a little if he's going to hit into that B tier right there. Give me a little more Vizago. I like the idea of him. I want to see him better. Okay, here's W1LE, or Willie, Lando's droid. Which, I mean, he's a character. There's just not much to this guy at all. Dang, there's not much to him. I don't actively dislike him, so I'm not going to show him in the F tier. But he's pretty much right there. He's bottom D tier. If I actively disliked him, he'd be down in the F tier. I think that's the difference for the F tier. That's also, I think, why Seventh Sister doesn't end up in the F tier. I don't actively dislike her. And I think I actively dislike everyone in this tier down here. Yoda. You'll notice I no longer have the little sparkly thing for Yoda this time, because we actually got to see him. Although, in some ways, I wish I could still have the sparkly thing for Yoda, because... yeah. Not my favorite look for Yoda. Not my favorite look for him at all. But still, Yoda is Yoda, and it was fun to have him in. Definitely enjoyed that. So Yoda is simply based on the 2 times, the one time from Season 1 plus this from Season 2 where he interacted with Ezra. That's really what we're talking about here. So let's see. I'll get to you and let me rank Yoda and then I'll answer that, Darskal. Let's see. So where should Yoda go? Just based off of what little we've seen of Yoda. I mean, who doesn't like Yoda? Even off of this little bit, but I don't think he gets to go above here. I think he's here in the B tier. Just off of what we know of him here from Rebels. Not including anything else. So you're way behind the videos. So WandaVision, I did do a live stream watching the first 2 episodes of WandaVision, so you can always catch that sometime if you want to. But yeah, no. Oh, I loved the first 2. I said fun. I don't know those sitcoms in that kind of style. I've seen a couple clips on YouTube or whatever. That's about it. You know, from any of those older shows. We're going to talk about Bewitched or And I Love Lucy or something. But still, I loved what they did with it. The humor was great. And I'm not going to spoil anything here, especially because who knows what people watching this might, or when they might watch WandaVision. But great job of bringing Wanda and Vision over air into the show, and really, yeah, a very different side to them. The 2 actors did a great job, and all the Easter eggs that are hidden within that show so far. Oh, and trying to speculate on what the heck's going on. Oh, it's a ton of fun. No, I loved it. Super excited to see where we're going. 9 episodes, so it's going to be 7 more weeks until we finish it. It's going to be a while. I mean, this year is owned by Marvel. Marvel owns it. Almost every week of the year, there will be something new from the MCU. It's going to be crazy. Yeah, anyway. So yeah. Going to be crazy. I've got another WandaVision video I'm going to make that's going to come out tomorrow. So that'll be out tomorrow. The other Rebels video, by the way, will be out probably in a couple days. 2-3 days, something like that. So anyway. We've got Yofar. Speaking of minor characters that no one really cares too much about. There's just not much to this guy. It's to the degree of minor characters. Fine, Yofar goes F. I'm sorry. He's so minor and so... Maybe it's not fair on the whole active dislike, as I don't know that I actively dislike him, but... What can you do? Yushin. So Yushin up next right here. Yushin is the mining boss we saw in that one asteroid where they were mining the Clozon. Ooh, I can't remember the weird little number that goes after it. Well, anyway, point being, there really wasn't much to this guy. Super two-dimensional, let's be frank. Super two-dimensional. But let's just shove him right here above Yofar. I think Lando's droid was more interesting than he was. Okay, last character. But Darskal first has, everyone who's watching this should stay off Twitter until after episode 3 gets released because there was some guy posting spoilers for the first 2 episodes. Yeah. I mean, we're almost up to Monday. At least we're almost 3 days after, the airing of the episode. But yeah, all the critics got to see the first 3 episodes. So, or anybody who qualifies for that, I guess I should say, not all the critics. So once we're past episode 3, then everybody's on the same equal playing field. We're all going into everything blank, and that'll be nice. Okay, where does Zeb end up at? That is our question for today. Does Zeb make the A tier, yes or no? Will he be A tier or will he be B tier? I like Zeb. Oh, yeah. Oh, why didn't I include Anakin? Well, I just did not consider him to be a character. I debated it. I actually even grabbed an image of him. So I did debate including Anakin on this. But I just didn't know that he qualified as a character. Because what we saw from him in the temple was him talking to... But it wasn't really him talking, right? I mean, so the only piece really is that hologram memory of Anakin, or holo recording of him. So I think the only Anakin piece was really that holo recording, because I don't think him talking to good old Ahsoka was really him. It felt far more like Ahsoka's self-doubts rather than Anakin. That's why I didn't. One can debate whether I should include certain ones in here or not. That's just, and somewhat arbitrary, I suppose, sometimes on those edge cases. So he was an edge case, and I chose to go not. Yeah. That was what I chose to do. Okay, so Zeb Aurelius. Let's see, Zebo. Yeah, Zeb gets A tier. He's going to pop below Grievous? Do you go below Grievous, bud? Or do you... Yeah. I'm going A tier. Very bottom of the A tier. So, close on B. So there you go. That's it. They're all up now. And hey, we did have 3 S tiers in there. 3 people that were in between that double S and the S. And in fairness, Hondo is kind of on the edge between the two. I love Hondo, but he's on the edge between double S and S. And maybe I'm being unfair and including too much Clone Wars in my thoughts on Hondo. That's definitely possible. Might even be true on Rex, if we're being honest. Might be a little too much Clone Wars knowledge on both of those two, bumping them up. But anyway, so there we go. It's like, so yeah, it might be that really both of these two here should actually go down to the S tier. But for now, that's where I'm leaving it. Maybe next time I'll make different decisions. But next time we'll know both Rex and Hondo better for Rebels, I'm at least hoping. Yeah, and I guess you can't really fully see everything here. Let me go ahead and just do this, just to make sure it's all nice and visible for everyone. I'm going to disappear for a second. So now you can all see everybody I have up here. It's all completely visible on the screen for a little bit, and then I'll put myself back up in front of it. So there is my ranking of all of the characters, and bearing in mind up there that Ugnaught right above Zeb is actually a stand-in for Grievous from the Canon comics as we saw him. So there you go. Interesting, as many characters in the double S as in the F tier. Some of those F tier characters are permanently there, as they'll never go anywhere else because they're dead. And I doubt we're gonna somehow retcon Commandant Arresco or what's his name, Taskmaster Grint, in order to make them better. I doubt that's ever going to happen. So they're there for good. Okay. So for everybody, feel free to tell me just how different your rankings are. If you could, if you've already seen the whole show, based off of what you remember of your rankings at this point, or based off of your rankings as a whole, maybe they changed incredibly. I'm going to put myself back up in front of this now. There we go. There I am. Okay, so let's see some comments here. So yeah, toss in the comments. I'll respond to them before we end the stream. So Darscal, have I ever considered making a separate channel for Star Wars content only, or am I happy doing it as it is? I have thought about it. I have certainly thought about it. Oh, dang if I'm not enough of a Star Wars fan to do it. But right now, I mean, this channel has only just crossed 1,000 subscribers. And so, I mean, that's certainly, I'm not going to make that change now if I'm going to go ahead and do it. It's going to be a bit before I would. But I thought about it because, and this is inside baseball in terms of how YouTube works. But inside baseball in terms of how YouTube works, it works better if it's niched down a little bit further in some ways. So if it was purely just talking about Star Wars, it would probably work a little better because essentially then all of the people who subscribe to the channel are all interested in Star Wars. Whereas with the channel being wide the way it is, I have people who might only be interested in Star Wars, or might only be interested in the theme parks, or only the animated films, or only Marvel. And so those people will still get the notifications and get told about my new videos, but they won't watch them. which then means less of people who are subscribers, less people who are getting told about my videos are seeing them, which then means YouTube thinks that the videos are not necessarily as interesting because less people looked at them. That's the problem with a channel that can be wider that way, actually. So that would be the main impetus to do that. Not to mention, obviously, as a viewer, if I'm somebody who really is only interested in the Star Wars content, then as a viewer, it's annoying to have all of that pop up across my screen. It's harder to click the bell and turn on the notifications if I don't want to hear about all the rest of that stuff. I mean, I can say that about channels that I'm subscribed to. So I understand it from that side too. At the same time, for me right now, maintaining 2 different channels is more work. Even if I'm putting out the same number of videos per week, it would be more work. So there's a trick there. Now, I love Star Wars. I mean, heck, if anything, I often end up in a spot where I'm putting out too many Star Wars videos, it feels like, in a week, as far as this channel is concerned. But yeah, and I'd love to do more. I'd love to toss into some of the lore, do some more what ifs, some theories, etc. I'd love to do more of that. But man, having time sometimes. Tricky beast. But also right now, just on a purely channel-based reason, other than the fact that it would take a little more time out for me to actually have 2 different channels. One of the other problems would be shifting over is probably going to be a beast in the first place. I'd probably want to be reposting these videos over to the new channel to some degree, somehow, some way. But also, if I stopped doing Star Wars content on this channel, then I'm going to imagine I'm going to have a big loss of subscribers, I imagine, on this channel. And so, not only am I giving myself more work at the moment, but I'm also giving myself a new channel that barely has any subscribers. That's going to have to build itself up from pretty low, from scratch, essentially. Although I'm sure some of all of you will move over there from here. But then I'm also hurting this channel at the same time, and hurting how many people see all that. So yeah. There's all the inside baseball on whether I've considered going ahead and doing a separate channel for Star Wars content only. So, yeah, I've certainly thought about it. But if I'm going to, the time is not now. If I'm going to, maybe it'll be later this year. If I'm going to. Probably I'd center it around a new show coming out. Something of that nature. Maybe let's say Mandalorian Season 3. Or say, probably not Bad Batch because it's going to come out pretty soon. So if I'm going to. And that'll be something I keep debating over time. Hey, any of you who actually are used to doing YouTube or whatnot and have an opinion on it, feel free to go ahead and let me know. Or even if you're not used to YouTube and you just as a subscriber have a really strong opinion, like you really are one of those subscribers of mine that are just here for the Star Wars content, let me know. Tell me what you think. Okay, Dominic, you also, let's see, you've got in here, do I ever think we'll see Corky again, Satine's nephew? I would think. I mean, he seems like an easy person to bring in. But certainly I haven't seen any indication of seeing Corky yet. I mean, I don't know. The other way, I suppose, of bringing in Corky, well, it would be if we see Bo-Katan here in Rebels, right? Or maybe you're talking about Corky in something like Mandalorian. Maybe we'll see Corky there too. I don't know. Oh, thanks for the congrats on 1,000 subscribers. Thanks, Starscal. Bobber should make more Star Wars videos. Well, thank you for saying I'm awesome. I appreciate that. Yeah, I love making them. I'm certainly not going to stop making Star Wars videos anytime soon. But, it's one of those tightrope acts to go ahead and not make too many Star Wars videos and not have other content on the channel. Because it takes so much time. It takes so much time to make videos. Oh, I'd love to see a Star Wars What If series. Oh, wouldn't I? Now, in either way, whether we're just talking a what if on a quick diversion or what it seems like Marvel's doing, where, man, we do some crazy different things. We got zombies in there. I don't know how we're justifying that, but I'm sure we justify it somehow. But, I'd love to have a what if series on Star Wars. So much that Star Wars could do if it wanted to. I'd love to also have, say, alternate realities rather than just have legends be what we did to everything else. I wish we could call it an alternate reality instead. Hell, it's how, in fairness, I view it as alternate realities in my own head. I don't view this as this weird legends thing, but so goes my opinion. It's like there's some good things that we could take from there and we could do. And it's an interesting theme in Star Wars too. We don't really play with parallel dimensions. We don't play with time travel, which makes it very interesting. Just one of those common tropes and things that are used that just aren't done in Star Wars. Let's see. Dominic, you say, I think it's a good thing to have a channel with more than only Star Wars. So you really like having it here, as the full Freeform Disney. Yeah. A ton of snow cows. For hot. Huh. I'm not sure what you mean. Snow cows. Darscal, one episode I'd like to see on What If is Ahsoka joins Maul and kills Darth Sidious. Yes! No kidding. That would definitely be a place to go. Speaking of turning points, we got to have the turning point where Qui-Gon's alive. There's no way you don't do that turning point. Or, heck, how about a turning point where Obi-Wan does Episode 3 very differently? Who knows? Maybe Obi-Wan joins up with Anakin. I don't know. And they overthrow the Emperor, right? Let's do something like that. I mean, no, there's so many interesting turning points. Heck, we'd have a what if where Luke joins Vader, kills the Emperor. and not, Luke becoming the new apprentice to the Emperor, but I want Luke and Vader killing him. So the two of them will go and rule the galaxy. Or maybe Luke, whether he joins in Return of the Jedi or Empire Strikes Back, that would be fun too. There's a lot of interesting things. Or heck, if we're going back to Clone Wars, how about we have Fives actually be successful? They actually listen to Fives, and we go from there. Oh, snow cones. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Gotcha. Snow cones on Hoth? Yeah, I can see that. Hi, Lita. Well, hello there. I have had a good day today. Heck, I spent the last couple and a half hours, live streaming with all of you, so that's always fun. I always enjoy it. I do indeed. And hey, it took a couple hours to make this back here. It's a lot of characters to rank, and I'm sure there'll be more, once we get into Season 3. And hey, maybe we'll actually rank Melon Guy for real next time instead of just doing Grievous. What if Order 66 never happened? Agreed. The only question is, what do we do instead of it? Is it that the Emperor dies beforehand somehow? We took him out? Because, yeah, it changes everything immensely if the Emperor goes out first. Ezra and Simon's kiss. Don't know what we're talking about. Let's see. And don't... Careful if there's anything in there for Rebels. What's my favorite part of Star Wars? Of the entirety of everything? Wow, that is so big. I don't even know where to go with that right off the bat. Wow. I mean, I love the original trilogy. I love my prequels. I really, came to love Clone Wars. Not at the beginning. Not at the beginning. Dang, there was so much painful. But there was so much that was really good in Clone Wars, especially later on, and then even sprinkled throughout. Rebels has been pretty good here so far. The books, there's so many good books out there. I don't know as much about the comics. I haven't been a big comics reader, so I can't talk about that as much. But really, the expanded universe type material, well, I'm sure New Canon's true of that too. The expanded universe content is so valuable in terms of Star Wars. It means so much to me. Heck, there have been a number of video games, even a number that even I have actually played. So there's been all that too. I mean, in some ways, it's even just the whole galaxy. It's weird to say this world to live in when we're talking about a galaxy, but point being. And yeah, there's just so much going on. There's such a rich galaxy. The Force makes things so fun. I mean, who doesn't want to be a Jedi or a Sith or a Force user at any rate? Yeah, no. So, what do I love most about, or what's my favorite part of Star Wars? Dang, I don't know. I don't know how to narrow that ginormous field into one thing. Yeah. Wow, I don't. Just do not know how to narrow it down. Or heck, even the epicness of going in and seeing one of the main saga Star Wars movies. I mean, there's just an epicness to that doesn't hit me in the way that any other movie does, really. I mean, let's be honest, even an Avengers Endgame for me, which is epic and all, definitely, utterly huge, there's just like a certain aspect to Star Wars for the saga that is even more epic in a way. Anyway. All of the above? Kind of a cop-out, I suppose. Darskal. Give anything for me to make a Star Wars short film at some point. Ha 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 ha. Woo. Oh man, where would I even go? So many possible stories. Yeah, I don't even know where I'd go with that at the moment. So many possibilities. Who knows? Maybe someday. Maybe someday. Certainly don't have the money for it right now, that's for sure. Not even anywhere close. Let's see. Let's see. Also, I'm looking at your videos and gotta be honest. Yes, the Star Wars videos tend to have more views. Now, there are exceptions there. So, I mean, if you're looking at my channel, so talking about what gets most views, etc., etc., the Star Wars videos tend to be consistent performers off the bat. Now, not at the beginning of the channel, though. Early on in the channel, they were not. They actually performed really poorly. The first couple Star Wars videos I did. So they did not do so well. But once I started into Clone Wars, it was really around that time frame that the change happened. Then stuff started happening. People who love Star Wars like me started finding the channel, it seems. And since then, yes. But even then, there are some other videos that do incredibly well. And like, if you were to look at some of my theme park videos, some of the Disneyland, Disney World videos do incredibly well. They're very good, consistent performers. And heck, shall we talk about the fireworks videos I've done? Those two fireworks videos. The 4th of July video was huge. The one for New Year's, wow. I mean, that thing's up over 40,000 views. It's like 45,000 views. There is nothing on the channel that comes close to what that video has done. So, and then I can't not talk about Stargirl if we're talking about what's done well on the channel. Stargirl is the first thing that really broke out on the channel. And the channel grew a ton because of Stargirl. So, and again, these are not Star Wars. Those pieces are very much not. Heck, there are other things that have done well, like when I did the Pixar in Real Life. Got a ton of views there. And that's been true of some of the other shows on occasion. Muppets Now, actually. A ton of people tuned in to go look at some of those videos. So there's been a bunch of different things. Marvel hasn't. I did some Marvel videos early on, similar to Star Wars. They just didn't take off early on in the early days. Because I did a couple of videos in the first few weeks of the channel. And they just didn't do much. And it still hasn't really taken off even now with WandaVision going. So, yeah, exactly. My most popular video is the fireworks one and then Stargirl right behind it. The only two videos on the channel that have busted 10,000 views. But yeah, where was I before? Before just jumping off that. But yeah, so really, it's not just one area that has done well on the channel. Even if Star Wars at this point in time seems to be the most consistent performer on the channel. But other stuff, can do really well, or on occasion it doesn't. It's hard to tell. I can never predict what's going to do well. So I don't do the videos purely based off of what's going to do well, obviously, or really much at all. I have backed off on things. More generally, I've backed off on certain things when they don't do well. Just because I'm like, oh, okay, nobody's really paying attention to this. I'm not going to get to talk with anybody about this one much. Like, I backed off on Star Wars even early on. I backed off on Marvel just because I wasn't getting much of any traction. They were doing worse than all the other videos on the channel at the time. Heck, my first couple Star Wars videos did worse than everything else. It's like, wow, they underperformed. So I will back off sometimes. And sometimes I'll go a little further forward. Like, I never would have made as many Stargirls videos as I did if they hadn't been so well loved. Like, that top 10 wouldn't have gotten made. The April Fool's Day one wouldn't have gotten made. But, I only loved making them too much, so. I probably would have made the fireworks video even if the 4th of July one hadn't done well. After all, the Halloween fireworks one didn't do as well. Back to, hey, you never know what does well. But I have a ton of fun making them. Those kind of creative videos are fun to make. And they're completely hit or miss on whether they do well. Completely. And they can take an immense amount of time for a short video. Anyway. So yeah. Let's see. Jump back into new comments here. Alita, that was a good answer, and I don't have to condescend it down. Just hearing me talk about something I love is awesome. Oh, hopefully I didn't sound like I was condescending on anything. I'm hoping you're saying that it was great that I didn't sound like I was condescending. I'm hoping that's what I sounded like. I hope. Because I certainly didn't mean to sound condescending if I did. So, my apologies. As I've said on this channel before, hey, if you love any of the things I don't like as much, that's great. That's amazing. I've got no problem with that. Or if you hate the things I really like, that's okay too. So, I got no problem there, whether it's about Star Wars or anything else, on the channel. I mean, there are pieces that I don't like as much, and they don't work for me for one reason or another. And heck, there are things that work way better for me than I'm sure they work for most people. And that's perfectly fine. Let's see. A Star Wars fan film could be Rise of New Republic or Rise of the First Order. Let's see. Yeah, certainly those are possibilities amongst so many possibilities if I were to think about one. Oh, didn't mean condescending. You spelled the word you meant wrong. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay. Cool. Let's see. And yep, I think, the Firework and Stargirl, I did talk about that. Let's see, completely off topic, but what is it that I'm hearing about Chris Evans coming back as Cap? Oh, I actually did a video on that. I tossed a video out on that day, just when that news broke. Oh, condense. I don't have to condense it down. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Gotcha, yes. No, because Star Wars is huge. I mean, it's part of the advantage it has over, well, most any other IP, at least as far as I'm concerned. If you don't know all the books and everything else, it's not as big a world, I grant. But yeah, if you do. And even without, you include all the video games and such too. I mean, even if you ignore the books, there's a ton more. Anyway. So Chris Evans coming back as Cap. So I should note off the bat, not necessarily as Cap per se. I mean, he is Captain America. I mean, he never will go away from that. I guess kind of like how you always call ex-presidents president, right? But anyway, a not quite finalized deal. I think it was Deadline that reported it, so I find that a reliable source. So this isn't, just a complete rumor mill kind of thing, which there are plenty of those out there. But Chris Evans apparently will, they're very close to finishing a deal, and he will be coming back for at least one or two properties. Sounds more like they're thinking films, but yeah, and I've made my comments as to there's so many different possibilities, whether we're talking old man Cap, whether we're talking a Cap that's younger, maybe it's Cap in between Infinity War and Endgame, or et cetera, et cetera. There are so many intriguing possibilities on where we could go with that. Heck, and this is after Chris Evans was so adamant about being done. So whatever, I mean, I'm sure they gave him a heck of a payday to come back too, but also I'm sure they enticed him with an intriguing role for whatever they're going to do with Cap. It's going to be something different. So that'll be cool. Let's see. Also, do I do fan mail or will I start fan mail? I don't have any fan mail right now. I haven't set anything up for that. If people are interested, I can definitely set up something for fan mail. But I mean, I'd only be... yeah, I mean, that would be really cool if people are wanting to do that. I'm only too flattered if people are. So, yeah, if people are wanting to, I will look into setting up something to do that. So, because I haven't looked into setting up a P.O. box and all that kind of stuff, so I don't have one at the moment. So I'd have to look into that and see what's involved in setting something like that up. So, how's that sound? I will look into setting up a P.O. box to potentially start fan mail if people are interested. I assume since you're asking that you are. I'm assuming that's what that means. Let's see. So yeah, I'll look into it. Darscal, wouldn't want to do that because I want to pretend the sequel trilogy doesn't exist. Bob, New Republic, the First Order piece specifically. And will the New Republic be Mando or original? And Bobber says not a fan of the sequel trilogy. Okay. I don't know how far I want to jump into that one way or the other. I'll do some videos. Speaking of Star Wars videos, I've got to do sometime. I mean, there's a ton of things to talk about. I mean, I haven't even really talked about the original trilogy much as far as Star Wars is concerned when it really comes to it. Or the prequels, actually. Wow. I mean, there's so much to talk about still. And I will talk about the sequel trilogy again sometime, too, which has its positives and has its negatives, to be sure. To be sure. I think anyone here knows I'm not the biggest fan of it. I mean... if you've been watching enough of the videos, you probably caught that a little bit here or there. I mean, I really enjoyed Force Awakens when it came out. I'm not gonna say it was the greatest thing or anything like that, but I enjoyed it. There was definitely potential there, and yeah, bear in mind. Another problem for me, though, is I'm someone who knows the old EU, read a ton of those books. You know, what's Legends now? I mean, I read those books all the way up through the New Jedi Order. So, I've not read the Dark Nest Crisis and the pieces right after that, but all the way up through New Jedi Order. So, I know that future so well. And so, that is the future to me, past Return of the Jedi, just because I know it so incredibly well and I'm so immersed in what happened there. And so even when it was first made, I always saw it as an alternate universe. That was my viewing of it. And that's not a bad thing. I mean, alternate universes are perfectly valid, perfectly doable. So, I mean, it always, whoever had made a sequel trilogy, it always would have been a giant uphill battle for me because I knew the EU so well. And so yeah. So that was always the problem I had right there off the bat. But even then, it could have been a lot better than it was. And as I've said, the one single thing I will most say is even if it's not the direction I would have taken it, that doesn't mean it's not a valid direction to have taken it. If we're going to talk about, say, Luke Skywalker or anything else, even if that's not the direction I would have gone, that doesn't mean it's not a valid direction to go. And hey, it can be a perfectly fine thing to explore. But I know Luke Skywalker so bloody well, and Mara Jade, and Han and Leia, and their kids, etc. Man, I know everybody there so well. So, yeah, it's tricky. Again, the main thing on the sequel trilogy that I would say is it, regardless of whether you like the general gist of it or not, it would have been a lot better if one creative person was over in charge of that thing and making sure that it was one cohesive unit. Because instead, Rian Johnson retconned and changed what J.J. Abrams did, and then J.J. Abrams came back and retconned and changed what Rian Johnson did. And regardless of anything else, that just creates a mess. Anyway. And that's it for now. I'll talk more sequel trilogy another time. I'll make some videos on it someday. But not now. Okay. What else do we got? Some people talking about don't watch Rise of Skywalker if you haven't seen it already. Well, depends on who you are. I mean, there are people who quite like it, so... so that's fine. I mean, there are some good characters in sequel trilogy, too, that I really like, and that it would be nice to see again sometime, too. We'll see what we see. Let's see. Mandalorian being great, yes indeed. Okay, anybody else got anything on Rebels? Because I think I am done talking sequel trilogy for the time being here, everyone. So anyone else got anything for Star Wars Rebels here? Say anything, any thoughts on the characters here? Or anything else Star Wars before we go ahead and come to an end here? Because I'm going to leave sequel trilogy out for the time being. And again, there are positives in there too. There's certainly positives in there too. I think anybody that looks too black and white at things, I think that's problematic, but that's okay. You're allowed to look at things however you like. Yes, Rebels. I love Rebels so far. So far, it's doing pretty decent. I mean, lots of potential. I enjoy a bunch of characters a lot. As I said, if it's the best show or not, I don't know. Certainly not yet at the moment. Got to see some more of it. I mean, Clone Wars beats it out right now, to be sure. And, well, the only other Star Wars show to compare it to is Mandalorian, which is incredibly good so far. But can't go ahead and beat Clone Wars when you're taking Clone Wars all the way. I mean, if I'm really comparing everything. Let's see. What kind of relationship would Ezra... Well, I have no idea, so let's not touch there. Kev, because I haven't seen the final 2 seasons here of Rebels yet. So Thrawn hasn't been introduced yet. I know he exists and he's going to come in. So, as I said, that's not a spoiler for me because I already know it exists. But obviously I can't comment on that, and as I said, because I don't even know what relationship they even do have. So, maybe mutual respect for one another. Oh, for those two. Who knows, maybe. Have I seen the trailer for Thrawn, a Star Wars fan film? No, I have not. Interesting. Is that going to potentially have spoilers for Rebels? Is there something I need to worry there? Or is this Thrawn from the old Legends? Or is this Thrawn pre-Rebels, maybe? Well, I said first, I got to know if it has what time frame that is, because I didn't want to spoil Rebels here for myself. I love Thrawn. Thrawn is easily one of my favorite characters. Okay, it's Rebel prequel. Okay. Well, I'll potentially look into it. I don't think I know anything about the Thrawn fan film, so yeah, I can't say as I know anything about it. So I'll potentially look into it. I also don't know if it like spoils books or if I'll ever get to the books. I'd like to get to the books, but man, if that's not an issue of timing, right? Okay. Yeah, I loved the run since you were 11. Yeah. I mean, that was the first set of books I read right there was the Heir to the Empire trilogy. It's like, oof. And hell if that's still not probably the single best set of books, out of everything Star Wars that I think I've read. So well written. I mean, made me, it's the start of the thing that made me a fan of Timothy Zahn, and I've read a ton of his other stuff too. Sci-fi, outside of Star Wars as well. So, yeah. Dang if he's not a good writer. And created, two of the most iconic characters in Star Wars, both Thrawn and Mara Jade. I have not listened to the Star Wars radio dramas. There's another one I have to look into sometime. Never looked into Star Wars radio dramas. While we're talking about things I haven't done, I have never actually watched the old original Star Wars Holiday Special either. For better and for worse. Not that I feel like I'm missing out on anything because of that, but I've never watched it. So, yeah. So there's certainly things I have missed. There's some of the video games that I haven't really jumped into. Again, the comics. I've never been a big comics reader, so there's a lot of Star Wars comics that I have not read. Like, the ever-famous comic on terms of Luke going to the dark side and whatnot, with the Emperor and his clones, etc., etc. I've never read it. I certainly know about it. Dang if I don't know pretty much the entire gist of what happens in there. But I've never read it. Let's see. Good Star Wars song called Star Wars in 99 Seconds. Interesting. Maybe I'll look up some of these things here in the future. And okay, looks like Maximilian, you've got to go. So have a magical day, and may the Force be with you. Always. And for everybody else, feels like we are starting to wind on down here. If you've got anything else, Star Wars, Rebels, whatever, to pop in here. Not sequel trilogy, because I don't want to get into that ball of wax here in this video. Again, I will someday. Both the good and the bad. But not today. So anything else before we go ahead and just call this a day as a whole? It's been about a 3-hour stream right here. It's to be honest, longer than I thought it was going to go. But hey, it's been great. Don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining at all on that. I love getting to really interact with you and have all of you here and have so many people to talk with. Only too much fun. I really do enjoy that. Just watched the trailer for the Thrawn Star Wars fan film. It looks really cool. Interesting. Okay, interesting. Okay. Unlimited Star Wars, yes. Well, as I said, have a magical day as well to you, Bobber, and may the Force be with you, always. And welcome, Ross. I think it's the first time I've seen you here this time, so welcome. Hello there. Okay. So I'm going to give you a chance, anybody else, to say anything. I think I'm going to pop this up one more time up above myself, just in case anybody wants to see that one last time here for the video, so you can go ahead and see the whole thing up in front of you, see my whole ranking tier, bearing in mind that Ugnaught, of course, is General Grievous. So there you go. There's my ranking tier as of the end, roughly of season 2. Obviously, there's 3 episodes left, but okay. So, seeing nothing else, that means I'm going to call it a day today. So, to everybody, have a magical day, and may the Force be with you. Always.